That was horrible.
Now, welcome back here. It's me, Maggie Thatcher. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's great. It's me over here, Martha Davis. Happy to be back in the studio today, back in
She's
this
so good to
beautiful
see you.
chapel.
And it's
we
me,
call
Father
that
O'Brien.
Hey,
Just
Father
visiting for the
O'Brien.
day.
There's a
Just
third.
trying to find out where all my workers, all of my nuns are going during
There's
the
a third
high
person
working
in here.
hours when they're supposed to be making mead.
You know, the timeshare must have double booked us. Isn't
I-
that just the strangest thing how
I'm
that
gonna
happens
have
sometimes?
to send a little bit of a letter.
Just an angry
Just an
letter.
angriest-
I was thinking of sending
angriest of
Q.
later.
Q's a pretty angry letter. It makes me
I
mad.
was thinking Z because Z is the sign of God.
That is, you're absolutely right there. It's
So,
beautiful.
so Father O'Brien.
Father O'Malley.
welcome in,
Father
Father
O'Malley.
Did I say O'Brien earlier?
You did say O'Brien.
I might have said that. That sounds like me.
O'Breary, Father O'Breary. is here.
O'Breary.
He's here in the studio with us today. Thank you for joining us here as well. We've
Always a pleasure.
We've had a lack of sinning. No sinning in this house here.
You know,
Absolutely not.
And I feel a little bit of a weird presence from you. It's almost like you're a big fan of the demonic arts.
I am an exorcist myself.
I was
Ooh.
sensing something a little odd here. Something a little demony.
You know
if I
what's-
must.
You know what's funny? Is
What? What's that?
I've done this voice a lot, and I've had a great time with it, and it's never been.
Boy,
hard.
he's transformed. He's switched over.
You know what this feels like something. This feels like the demonic energy. Yes, the demonic energy is coming from Father O'Brien here, rubbing off onto you.
Oh, my.
Onto you here, and now you're becoming so.
children
What
here.
what I've decided and discovered here today is that the Irish are sinners.
The Irish
They
are all sin-
are
Have
demons.
you ever looked at a potato?
What
when
about
you
it?
look at a potato, there's the eye of God in there, like the eye of potato.
Looks like a newborn
Like the eye
baby,
of the
yeah.
devil, not the eye of the God. What's
See
he
no
say?
evil.
Looks like
Hear no
a
evil,
newborn
speak no
baby is
evil.
what a potato looks like to me.
Speak no evil. Hey, it's me, Derek.
And it's me, Isaac.
Well, now hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh, Isaac,
I
your
thought I
voice-
was.
Your
I
voice
thought
got so
I
much
was
lower.
Isaac.
Isaac's
A
voice got
pleasing
really
baritone, that Isaac.
We have a shapeshifter here in the studio with us today because I am actually Isaac, and our wonderful shape-shifting Father O'Brien guest today here is.
Hi, it's me.
Spencer.
It's Spencer.
It's a me, a Spencer.
It's a me.
Are you Italian or Irish? I can't really tell.
I have zero
Keep
ancestry
your
of
story
either
straight,
of those things.
Spencer. Are you Irish or are
sorry.
you Italian?
I tried.
This fidget spinner is a gun. You have to tell me who you are.
I'll try. For our listeners at home, he did not have a fidget spinner. That was pure mimery.
Oh no!
I was amazed.
We have someone here who can tell the world what is and is not what's happening here.
I need the audience to step away into the other room with me real quick. So I had a fidget spinner in my hand, but when he said that to me,
I didn't think he was actually going to leave the room. That's amazing.
it doesn't work that way.
he's
he
gone.
gaslit me so hard right there that the fidget spinner disappeared. And Isaac and Spencer simultaneously just took a drink. And I think that's how they disappeared from the room. Anyway, so where that was horrible.
Yeah, well, welcome back. Thank you for listening into our very telling introduction to this podcast here today.
Always is.
That was horrible. This is our podcast where we do our best.
At reviewing the worst. I knew it.
Yes, our good friend Spencer here is fan of the podcast. If
yes.
I may call you that, it feels weird to call a person I know and a friend a fan.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
yes.
I waited at the stage door way too long to not be called a fan of the podcast.
He's been waiting here for a long time. We finally
Yes.
checked back. We didn't know we had a stage door. Actually,
No, really, we didn't.
I was like, Derek, what's this door back
Yeah,
here?
it
What
was
does
the one
this
that the
mean?
dogs go in and out of.
Yeah, exactly.
It says rude etagi. Etags. How do you say?
I don't know where you're going
stage
with that.
door backwards? Because I was looking at it from the
okay.
other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rude etagi.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was like Rear Window,
Yes.
Hitchcock film. This was a remake of a Hitchcock movie, maybe.
Rear window. It's rear window backwards. Is that how that works?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
Hitchcock
like race,
was a genius.
race car is race car backwards.
And
Palindrome, sir.
Yes, that's the word.
palindrome is palindrome backwards, which is why that works.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, yeah, we got a special guest on the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I
Of
appreciate
course.
you.
It's good to have you. Go ahead and give the people who you are.
Who the
Why
heck?
do you matter?
I
Who
am
is
Spencer Wilhelmina Ford. I am.
Why is Spencer?
Ooh, why is Spencer? I have no idea how to answer the why, so I'm just gonna deflect. I'm just gonna deflect that one. I'm gonna move on. I'm a local. You don't know where we are because this bunker has been sealed for thousands of years, so you
It's
have no
true,
idea where we are
actually.
at this time.
They will not let me out.
But I'm local to these two within their bunker. I'm a writer. I've been loving writing musicals, particularly. I've been honored to have these two participate in the development of a couple of musicals and
You're
be
incredible.
in a staging of one of my musicals. What about Demonic Possession, very
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
prescient to this particular podcast, and they were so good.
What is
if you haven't looked it up,
particular project?
that musical is called Possessive! The musical!
Yes.
You don't have to say the exclamation points, but I like to say the exclamation.
You
really
can either
do.
do that or you could just yell. Just
This
say
is,
possessive.
Possessive! The musical!
And this is why we
Okay.
check to make sure you're mic.
Got to make sure I'm far
handled.
enough. That's why I leaned back.
He's a professional. He knows.
He knows how to use a
He's
mic.
comfortable in the space here. He's making himself at home. He knows what a
He's
microphone is and
exploring.
how to do
He's
it.
touching stuff. He's making
Whoa.
people uncomfortable.
Why did you have to make eye contact with me? When you said-
I'm really glad he looks right at you when that happened.
He's touching stuff. He's touching
Whatever
things.
eyes are available.
I'm just looking for eyes, man.
So for the rest of the podcast, I'm going to look right up at the ceiling.
Oh, it's a nice ceiling up there. It is.
But thank you for having me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
Thank you for
absolutely.
coming on. You know, it's a long time coming. Would have had you on earlier. It's a just glad it's happening.
Yes.
it's glad it's happening.
It's a bitch of a living, really.
Yeah,
That is
there's
a
so many
song
assumptions
for a
I had about this
musical.
podcast that are just so obvious now. Like, obviously you record naked.
yeah.
There's no way.
Why wouldn't?
Why?
we?
Why? It's so
Like,
free.
the sound quality, like the
Clothes
freedom
just
of the.
get in the way.
Really though,
I
we
mean,
tried
that's so-
standing
yeah.
for a second, but that was too
Ooh.
much for us. So like the naked, the sitting, that's the
No.
way to get it done.
We also
Yeah,
tried laying
and the
down once. It didn't
the
work.
warm up. I had no idea there would be so much
Jumping,
animals,
yeah,
so many
exactly.
jumping.
Yeah.
Yes, why the
The
jumping?
jumping was kind of my idea. I thought it was really just something to really help get us pumped up, get us jived, jazzed, and moving. You know. And I think it's well, Derek actually thought it was he didn't think it was a very good idea at first.
No, I didn't. And I actually would go to the zoo and I would get lemurs. I would rent them out for the day.
They
and
jump.
They would come
That's true.
over and they would help me jump.
It got pricey.
It got
though.
pricey though.
Oh,
and
I'm
it's
sure.
actually
The-
part of why
the
we
Crafts
switched.
Brothers or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. That's why we switched to the 2-week thing. Really, that's the real reason.
Yeah, just to save on lemur costs. Yeah,
the lemur budget got a
our
little out of
overhead was
control.
crazy because they're always climbing stuff. They're
Exactly,
overhead.
the overhead. That was really good. That was genuinely funny, and you know it was because I didn't laugh.
Yeah. That lemur joke.
I really just wanted to bring jumping into our warm up because my mom always told me no more monkeys jumping on the bed as a child.
And
so
it all
this
comes
is
back.
kinda- this
Yeah,
is my,
yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
adult now,
And
and I'm
we're
going to
back.
jump on whatever bed.
And we're back.
And we're back. So the movie this week.
So Spencer mentioned that he writes for you write for a couple different things. It's not
Yeah.
just musicals, right? You write screenplays and
Feature
such.
scripts. Love it. Yeah. All of it.
Write something right
I'm
now.
sending out a pitch for a TV show
Yeah.
tomorrow, in fact.
This
Whoa.
man, I mean, we've
Let me
compared
write.
to Hamilton. Like he writes like
Yes.
he's running out of time. You were writing.
I think we have mentioned you on the podcast a few times because it is one thing that
Aw.
impresses us. Because we see a lot of like first time writers, directors, right? We see all these people who are constantly pumping out things. I think the Mean One is a very great example of that because that production company has released like hundreds of things.
just so much,
it's
just
and it's
throwing
just-
all that spaghetti at the wall.
It's impressive to me to know someone who's like doing that, but at a caliber of quality that is significantly
Aw.
higher than those. Like, I mean, I've read your scripts. You know,
Yeah.
they are better than
Oh my
some
gosh.
of the.
Honestly,
For our
that
listeners
is-
at home, I am blushing. I am blushing because
he
they
is
said
blushing. Podcast
Wait.
listener at home.
Do we need to call paramedics? You're pretty purple.
Yeah, he's getting a little red here.
That's
You
just
feeling
my shirt.
okay?
It's lavender.
Oh, okay, that's what.
Sorry, I have a hard
That's
time
what
with.
it is.
color.
Oh, I should specify, listeners. I'm the only one who's not nude.
Yeah, we couldn't ask him that. We didn't actually have the time to sign like write up a contract to do that kind of thing anyway.
We did actually offer him the third seat on the podcast.
But I was like,
didn't know
they've been
that
nude
was
sitting in that chair, so I'm not gonna take it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like there's a lot of touching this chair. The point is
point.
Spencer does a lot of writing, but specifically he has written some musicals, one that we were in, which was really fun. And so we thought it'd be a fun idea for this episode for the movie that we watched to be a horror movie musical, which I did
exists.
not know even existed.
And it exists.
Yeah,
and
it's-
it existed in Stage Fright from 2014.
2014 Stage Fright, not to be confused with Stage Fright 1989 or,
Or
Stage,
Stage
Fright
Fright
1987 or Stage Fright 1950.
What?
There's a lot of Stage Fright movies.
There was also
Yeah.
a TV show that lasted like a week.
yeah, there
So,
was
you
like
know.
Scooby Doo, Stage Fright. There's another one of those.
It's kind of.
I wonder how many were horror because stage fright can be applied to anxiety,
Right,
can be
yeah,
applied
they
to
all
just missing
seem-
your mark.
They all seem like they might be horror in nature, but like there could be there's lots of reasons to be feeling stage fright.
Oh.
It's typically the biggest thing I hear from people when they say like they don't want to do theater, they're too afraid to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, oh, I have too much stage fright, which is funny because like speaking to two other theater people, that doesn't go away.
No,
right?
no, no. I'm terrified every time. Until I'm on
Interesting.
stage.
I've not felt scared,
You are
just
a
anxious.
sociopath, though, so that does
It's
make
not
sense.
fright. It's not like my body isn't giving danger response, but it is giving just anxiety. But it's like that a sickly feeling of you're excited plus a feeling of dread.
And maybe that's what I feel.
Yeah, that might be
'Cause
more.
I wouldn't say I've ever had stage fright.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. For some reason, about a month ago, I went out on stage and panicked.
Yeah.
And I've literally never had that happen to me before. And it was so weird. It was such an interesting experience for me.
Yeah.
I stepped into the shoes of someone who was normal for a moment.
So normally you're wearing the shoes.
Turns
of a not
out,
normal
amazing arch support.
Amazing art support.
guy. Wonderful. Got to ask him where he gets his
Dr.
shoes.
Scholl's, apparently, is what I've been told. So, like,
Dr.
crazy.
Scholl, the cobbler down the street.
Well, Stage Fright from
Hey, Dr.
2014,
Scholl.
they put Minnie Driver front and center in all of their marketing that we saw.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Minnie
They
Driver's
really wanted us
fantastic.
to know we got famed actress Minnie Driver.
The Minnie
And
driver.
they hid Meatloaf, because Meatloaf is also in this movie.
Yeah, right underneath her. Yeah, they got this
Oh.
big
Are
marquee.
his coattails not long enough?
It's got this big marquee. It says Minnie Driver, big names. Like right little underneath it says Meatloaf. You really got to come in with your magnifying glass
See,
to find
and,
that one.
And when I pitched
This
this
whole thing.
movie, I genuinely thought Minnie Driver was going to be eating a meatloaf.
the whole time,
Like, I
Oh.
thought that was just her request.
Okay.
a terrifying movie. We present
Minnie Driver.
Stage
Yeah,
eating
Minnie
Minnie
Driver.
Driver
Eating
eats
a
a meatloaf.
A single helping of meatloaf from her
Just a
school's
single
cafeteria.
A bloody mess. Her digging into this meat.
She does say bloody because,
Lord.
again, British. So
That's
Is
true.
Minnie Driver British?
Eating a bloody meatloaf.
that's why in
Bloody
Good Will
hell.
Hunting, she just used her normal voice.
Oh, wow. You know things.
I really wish for
And
this
I-
podcast I got to use my normal voice, but Derek said no to that one as well.
I thought
Really?
we talked about this. You physically can't use your normal
Interesting.
voice.
He was using his normal voice in warm ups the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
The
kinda
lemurs
like
respond to it.
It's just like this deep guttural. Like people honestly have kind of compared it to like Mongolian, like throat chanting, that kind of stuff.
There were multiple tones. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
I heard
Wow.
6. That last time, you almost squeaked out an 8th.
I thought
But
today would have been the 8th, but that we have a guest. I got a little nervous.
Speaking of multiple tones, this was a musical.
Wow.
And they
Whoa.
say,
Holy cow.
these cats can get as
I
far
have
afield as they
never-
want. They will be heard.
I have never seen someone rein in my podcast.
that was
in
art.
so much control.
I'm gonna stop the podcast just to
segue.
talk about how I'm gonna stop your incredible segue just to talk about how incredible this segue was, because wow, way to bring it back, bring it home, make it right.
This is where I live.
So multiple tones, yes.
That was pretty good. But before we do that, Spencer, you could rein us in all you want, but we're going to get out of control.
I take it from someone who has done 72 plus episodes with this man. It's tough. It's tough to rein
Valiant
in all the
effort.
time.
When something has to come out, something has to come out. That's why they invented the well. I mean,
That's why they invented the
dam.
gag reflex.
The well and the gag reflex.
Well, gag reflex. Okay. No, what I was going to say is, how's your guys' week's been? We always do this. We always talk about, you listen to the podcast. Have you seen any movies lately? Have you done anything? What
Yeah.
about you, Spencer?
I've been writing up a thriller concept that I'm really enjoying. It's got cloning in it, and I love cloning-based stuff. And then I've got a second
that was the plot
thriller
twist?
that I got a bunch of feedback on that I'm rewriting. Writing is rewriting. They tell you that when you're in your writing classes, but then you get into the quote-unquote real world, and it's just literally true.
Yeah.
Everything that I've written has been at least 7 drafts,
Oof.
and even at that point, it's still vomit.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's probably one of those things you hear like in school. You're like, well, yeah, sure. You all say that, but then you get it. You're like, oh, it's real. It's true.
Yeah.
And is that like a tedious part of writing, or do you enjoy going through and rewriting?
I do
stuff?
not enjoy rewriting because I'm not good at it. I suspect there are people who are amazing at it.
Yes,
But for me,
yeah.
the rewrite is generally, it gets clunkier because I'm adding all of the elements that
Yes.
I know are missing.
Mhm.
And then I do a series of rewrites that are removing
Yeah.
until it's streamlined. So there's this a landfill of buildup in the middle where it's way too long. How did I ever get here? Everything is awful. I'm going to die on the side of Mount Everest. And then a Sherpa finds me and I end up with a workable.
Hey, that was a beautiful metaphor.
That's-
And as a man who's a big fan of metaphors, I can tell you. That was beautiful.
Derek's not one, but he knows a man who's a big fan of metaphors.
And you seen any good movies lately, though? What about you?
Dagnet, I saw the original Alien.
For
For the first time, my wife and I whipped it out.
And what'd you think? You're very
Just a couple weeks
critical
ago,
man.
and I'll say it is so tight.
Right?
It's well done, except that
Oh,
if that script were
Oh.
turned in today, I know for a fact they're cutting 20 minutes off of it, at least.
yeah.
There's a lot of them allowing build. It's a slow burn movie.
Which works, though.
I also did not expect, it's not a horror movie in the truest sense.
No.
Definitely more of a suspensey thriller
Mhm.
Yeah.
kind of thing going on.
Absolutely.
Slow burn.
Also, I'm amazed at how much set building they did. That had a big budget.
Incredible.
Yeah, dude.
Because I just,
Ridley Scott.
when people
Astounding.
talk about it, it sounds like this scrappy bunch of people come in like, we're going to make a movie, dag-labbit.
yeah, exactly.
And
Real
then,
indie
no,
stuff.
this was a real big, like, on the coattails of Star Wars.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, big space operas can work. We're going to throw money at it.
Mhm.
And it
It
paid
worked.
off because some of the sets were gorgeous.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
that
really
was
good
one thing I
stuff.
liked about Romulus, is what we were just talking about before we started recording.
Oh.
Is like the set building in that was almost on par.
I love that kind of stuff, and I love
was
big,
really good.
big, impressive sets with so much, especially in a sci-fi setting where there's so many just like random weird details.
Yeah.
And I love finding out like a lot of people that design those kinds of things to really think out that stuff. That like, oh yeah, this button is what activates that. People really think through this kind of
is
stuff,
fun.
which is just insane to me. Because me, if I was designing that stuff, I'd be like, yeah, put like 7 buttons there. This line connects into that line. It looks like sci-fi. We're good. But I am not the designer. I don't do these impressive things.
And I'd be like, wow, if you close your eyes, you'll really see something there. And it's just like a blank wall.
Makes me wonder if like Minority Report style interfaces that we make these days, where it's like, oh, they're just kind of poking the air. If there's ever any logic to that, or they're like, well, Tom Cruise was hand wavy that day,
Right.
So we got to do this whole thing.
I often wonder that when they have like holograms and stuff, like Tony Stark in like any of his movies, right, where he's got these holograms in front of him, he's just like pinching and pulling things. Like, did they guide him? Was that choreographed, or is it just like play and prod with the air and we'll figure it out?
Like Robin Williams and Flubber, just start stretching stuff.
Yes, we'll fix it in post.
No, he probably had Jello. No, Flubber was probably real.
Flubber was real.
There was no way that was CGI.
No, absolutely, yeah.
That was
famed actor Robert Flubber.
Robert Flubber. Oh man, is he related to Jiminy from Flubber?
No relation actually. He hates that guy.
Sometimes you run with a bit and it just flubs. Get it? I personally saw Trap, dude. The new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Derek has brain rot right now. He's sick. He's got the consumption, and that consumption is trapped.
We should probably bring that up. Yeah, the reason this is posting a week late is because I had COVID, and it was so bad.
Gasp!
It was the worst bout of it I've had. I was
Derek
dying,
was
which
pretty
means
sick.
I got to watch a lot of movies. Though I watched so many movies while I was down. Well, not as many as I would have liked because I was dead. But I watched Trap.
Yep. First and foremost,
I watched Cuckoo, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yep. Trap being the sequel to Dubstep.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right next to House.
No, Trap.
MD.
Trap it's what is his name? Josh
Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett is a serial killer who is inside of a rock concert, and they've set up this entire rock concert to catch a serial killer.
Yes.
Oh.
And so
they brought him thousands of victims.
Yes.
A little
in
bit.
the hope that, bad trap guys. Bad trap.
Kind of. Yeah, it was wild, man. Something about M. Night Shyamalan, Shyamalan's movies is like the dialogue doesn't make any sense.
Oh.
Like half the time, have you seen an M. Night Shyamalan movie recently?
The ones everyone knows, for sure.
Yeah. But like you watch them now, and maybe it's because we watch and dissect horror movies on a weekly basis.
That's fair.
That I'm like more attuned to certain things. But the dialogue in that movie was fake. Those people were not real. If I found out he wrote that movie with AI, it would not surprise me.
There are some writers of movies that just like, it's like, have you ever gone outside and talked to another person? Like, there is none of this feels natural. This is not how a person would react, what they would say at all. Like,
one of my pet peeves in dialogue, someone walks up to you and goes like, so I was talking to, and they gesture at the other character to indicate they should say their name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never happened to me in my life. No one has ever walked up to me and like pointed at me. I go, Spencer. They're always like, and your name is?
Didn't I do that to you today? Like
was that before or after warm up?
Oh, we don't talk about after warm up.
No, you actually, Derek, you came up to me and said that, hey, who's that guy?
Who's
and just pointed at you across the room, and I had to answer.
No, but the thing, the high horse, like, is
yes.
Oh, we're talking about Twep. Twep was my favorite movie. I love that movie so much.
Now, Spencer, this is your first time in the studio with High Horse Palomino.
Oh, High Horse Palomino. Who's coming into the studio today? No. What was that? Who is this motherfucker? Get him out of here.
No sudden movements was what I was going to say.
Now, I'm actually on a high horse, and I've got some things to say about Twep.
Now, I'm going to revert back.
He's been out on a high horse. You've never had your character stare back at you.
No, it was terrifying.
I stared into the abyss and it stared back.
Is that how you feel? Did I get Nietzsche? Did I stare into the abyss?
A little bit. The high horse bit back.
Anyway.
So what's you're up on your high horse about Trap?
Bing, 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 bing.
He's like carefully underneath on the floor
Here's
building
your
a box.
I'm gonna go away.
It's got some things to think about.
I'm so scared. Oh.
Okay, high horse, you're good. Anyway, my high horse here,
Right.
I gave this movie 4.5 stars, man.
Really?
Trap.
Trap.
All right.
Out of 5. And I can't really figure out why. I don't remember what my high horse was genuinely going to be. Because
kind of
that bit.
Every time
Ran
you tried
out
to
of control.
explain to me why you like it. You're like, no, it's a terrible movie. It's bad.
Listen, I understand for every reason this movie is bad.
Yeah.
Okay? They are in a concert at 11 a.m. Yeah, 11 a.m. It's a concert
to a
that was
It's
set up.
brunch time concert.
It was set up by the government to catch one person.
That's why
okay?
the government doesn't understand
There's like
concerts.
10,000. No, neither does M. Night Shyamalan. He set up this entire concert, and mind you, the girl giving the concert is his daughter.
Is his daughter.
And all of her own music. And like most of the music was okay. Some of it was really bad.
Honestly, props to M. Night Shyamalan, though, for like having his platform making these movies and using that to like promote his daughter's music
Yeah,
career.
that's
Like,
nice.
and she's
what a good dad.
No,
Yeah, the
listen.
Nepo babies are never going to make it otherwise.
Oh my gosh. I walked away with that movie being like, I kind of want to be a dad. Like that was literally
That's what
my
you
God. Yes, because it's a movie about
You saw someone completely selling out. They were like, what is this a metaphor for?
It's and anyone who's seen the movie, I think probably gets what I mean. Like, there's something so special about one, the way the movie was made, because it's M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, right? He's doing a familial thing.
Yes.
But also a good amount of the movie is Josh Hartnett's character interacting with his daughter. And it's kind of cute.
She's at the concert
She's
with
a
him, right?
huge fan.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, but the stupid thing is like there are multiple shots that are like, okay, they're in the concert, they're watching the concert, then all of a sudden they're walking through the halls, and then they're back at the concert.
Like you
It's
do
like-
at a concert,
it's
right?
Like there
You
were like
leave and
ad
go walk.
breaks.
Like,
It
we
was
got to
there
get
were
us a
ad
hot
breaks.
dog in this. Head on out.
It didn't make any sense.
It's me, Josh Hartnett. I need a hot dog.
Hot dog. Is that Josh? Hi, it's me, Josh Hartnett's daughter. Dad, come back to the concert. I need a hot dog.
Donna, I'm getting you a hot dog, didn't she? I can't hear you over M. Night Shyamalan's daughter.
But anyway, millions of plot holes aside, I try not to get caught up on plot holes because it ruins a good experience, right? There's a literal hole in this movie that gets covered up. But anyway,
Spencer and I look at each other.
Yeah, people at
confused.
home are cracking up over that.
I don't
we
get
do
it, but
not
Derek
get
does.
it.
anyone who's seen Trap, they're gonna laugh at that one.
This is-
No,
this
they
is-
actually probably won't.
This is for all you
bad
trappers at
content.
home.
This is for you trappers at home. Trapper John. That's from MASH. Anyway, no, listen. Trap, man.
Yeah.
It was just like, it wasn't even horror until the last 10 minutes of the movie. And
Yeah.
then something suspenseful really happens in it that I was like, oh.
That turns it to this is horror now.
And there is a song that M. Night Shyamalan's daughter plays on the piano that has been stuck in my head. And I've listened to it on repeat.
Derek
like,
sent
over
this song
and
to
over
me,
and over.
yeah.
I was like, I can't stop listening to this song. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I don't know. I got nothing. Anyway, we saw The Substance as well. Last movie to talk about.
Wow!
Wowie. Have you heard
The substance was cheat. The substance was gold. The substance was
Substance was the friends
paper.
we made along the way.
The substance was the friends we made along the way.
No, The Substance is a new movie with Demi Moore and Margaret
Qualley.
Qualley. And it was
Directed by Corley Fargeet.
Yeah, and we're planning on doing a not so horrible for that one. So I don't think we should give too much away right now.
I am in shock.
I am too.
Ask Derek. The credits roll on this movie, and I was like curled up in my seat, like cackling with like tears in my eyes.
I've genuinely never seen Isaac like that.
just
in my life.
out of like loving what I had seen, disbelief that such a movie exists and was made. I thought movies like this were dead. We're talking like crazy body horror stuff from the 80s and
like
Insanity.
The Fly, like going back to like David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yes.
That,
Just like
almost worse, almost harder.
And you're right. Like, I don't want to get too deep into like what this is because we'll have a whole episode and not so horrible based around this. But I was just in disbelief.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It was a really good time.
Phenomenal
And
movie.
the trailer did not give it all away.
No,
and that's
none of it.
fantastic.
I literally, I saw this trailer before you.
Yeah.
I remember I saw this trailer way back when it first released because it was an ad from Mubi, the company that produced this
Yes.
film. And I watched it and I was like, oh, a movie about an aging actress who wants to be young again.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't look like my
Finds
vibe.
a mystery drug that can like make her young again. That's basically all you get.
And then one of my favorite reviewers said that it was the craziest, bloodiest movie he'd seen in years. And I went, that movie about aging? What?
The movie with Demi Moore and the green liquid? That's all?
And then I saw this movie and almost puked like 3 times. So there you go.
The substance was puke.
10 out of 10 experience, honestly. We're sitting here talking about like it was disgusting. We almost vomited, but go check it out.
I
Absolutely.
literally, every time I've talked to someone about it, I'm like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Maybe think about seeing it though.
But also,
it was really gross.
underneath all the gross out craziness is like an incredible commentary on some very like some touching subjects that we'll tell you about in another episode.
we're not doing one on Trap, so that's why I went on Trap for so long.
Yeah, we had to hit Trap.
I
sure.
did spend a long time trying to get Isaac to do Not So Horrible on Trap. I begged him. I was like, "You gotta go watch it, man."
He trapped me. I was waterboarding
entrapment.
actually. He was trapped. Pouring this water over my head. Are you gonna watch Trapped yet? Never. You couldn't make me.
All right, so we watched Stage Fright.
So for our listeners at home,
Oh.
they acted that out. They didn't have to act out the
The whole
waterboarding.
thing.
There was no need for us. We know what waterboarding is. We're all familiar with the
was a
concept.
little awkward
They
'cause
had
we
no
were
reason to, but I really appreciate the attention to detail that this podcast makes.
Thank you,
We
man.
we spare no expense. We really give it all for you guys on things you will
Oh.
never see.
I heard you met Bilbo today.
I did meet Bilbo today.
The bartender. Whoa, here he is.
Okay, this is not the man I met, so I have no idea who this is. But
Oh, yeah, that
I
was
did meet.
separate Bilbo.
How many Bilbos could there possibly be in this studio?
Oh my, he met Bilbo 1 through 8, did he? Oh wait, which one did he meet? Did he meet 6?
It was
I hope he didn't
7.
meet-
It was 7.
Oh, good.
7's like okay, like it's not the best
Well-
Bilbo I wish he would have met, but like okay.
It's fine. Anyway, what are you drinking today, boy?
You tell us, Bilbo. We got this.
I'm
we
excited
got
to
this
know.
Little red solo cup in our hands here of mysterious red liquid.
I'm in a early 2000s party scene.
Yes, you are. You're at the camp with the red goo. That's what I'm calling this
Camp
drink.
with a ragu.
That
with the
kinda
ragu.
sounded- That kind of like, yeah, it sounded like ragu. Like we're putting it on pasta. Well, it's not, though. This has the blood of 1,000 failed actors. It also
Oh.
has the tears of 1,000 failed mothers.
Failed in
Every manner.
Every-
That's the salt. That's
every
the
man-
salt.
That's the salt you're getting.
yeah.
No, but
Salt
really,
from the tears.
it's actually quite simple. It's Kool-Aid
oh. Period.
End of list.
and Sprite.
Okay.
That's it.
And there's no banana in this one.
Why would there be banana?
I just like hearing you say banana.
There's no banana.
I can taste his thumb, but that's
Oh, I did shove my thumb deep
did
into
shove
the
his
crevice of your solo cup.
Yeah, he's
It was
hoping
me,
that like
only me.
you ingest part of his body. It's like a
That is actually how I
it's a
replicate.
Jesus thing.
We've
Right?
actually had 20 people on this podcast, but none of the hours of episode.
You're the first one to drink. You've done it. And you'll
so.
be
Just so
fine.
you know, listeners, there actually are drinks here.
Did that
I know
blow you away?
you would be sitting at home and like, there's no reason to believe they'd actually have a drink, but when they describe it, they're actually describing like there is a thumb sitting inside of my cup.
What's so
right
funny
now.
is like only since you've come onto this podcast and brought up points like that, I'm like, we could say whatever we want.
Yes.
This is an audio medium.
No one's
you know?
checking.
I mean, we got horses in the studio and vampires, scientists.
Bilbo is here.
Bilbo is here.
He's not real. Or is he? Ooh, there might be. I mean, most people probably think this is an actual studio.
That's true.
This is just
That's
a room
true.
in my house.
Which is exactly what it is, right,
It's
Spencer?
a bunker thousands of feet below the surface
Oh,
of
right.
an undisclosed continent.
But a
I think
studio,
you did
nonetheless.
say
What a studio.
So now that it's canon. Oh, I'm
Yes,
still
this-
Bilbo. May I
this-
release this vessel?
Yes, please. And Bilbo be gone.
Soupy twist. Banana.
The power of tomato compels you.
For your viewers at home, again, no one's filming this.
Did we say
Bilbo
viewers?
apparated through the wall.
Yeah.
Which
We left
again,
the soul.
I assumed it was Derek doing a voice.
No.
I always just sat in my home and was like, oh, look at that cute voice Derek's doing. There is no Bilbo. That is him assuming this character. Again, attention to detail.
It's attention to detail. You know, it really shows how we're so professional.
We're so
And
professional
we never
here.
get off topic.
Never ever, no.
Never.
That's why we got him here, though. He's going to help rein us in if we ever get too
He tried.
far.
He tried.
Stage Fright from 2014.
But I was ready to talk about Oklahoma, my favorite musical. I'm just trying to fit.
You
as
know what
many
has a
musicals-
reference to Oklahoma?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Stage Fright
It
2014.
does. It's called Arkansas.
There is a poster on a wall
Yeah.
that says Arkansas with
In
an
the-
exclamation.
Yes, there are a couple of like fake play musical posters in this movie that were pretty funny.
Do you guys ever wonder?
Never.
I don't think we should allow you to start this tangent. I'm pretty sure it's my duty to stop you.
That's why we didn't bring you here. No, we warned you coming into the studio. You know what I'm like.
Walking into taking the elevator,
elevator.
thousands of feet below into the studio today. Derek
Hours,
did say,
by the way, hours on that elevator.
Derek did say, "I'm
provided
sorry for what's about to happen."
I did say that. Yeah. Okay. Let me just.
Do you ever wonder?
Do you ever wonder? Okay.
How
I need
hard
to
to hit
rein
you
myself
broke my
in.
thumb.
Are you saying it? That's cute.
That's a song.
Was it?
Do you ever want? Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut this part.
Another fact: I don't cut the episodes unless I say something really bad. So
Yeah, like this. And anyway, Derek, so you said
For our listeners at home,
said that.
they didn't actually cut anything. Isaac only intimated as though they might cut something.
no, they know too little. Wait, no, my riff and my banter. Okay, one thing first. I have asked so many people. You're the only person who hasn't answered this question the way I want them to.
The only person who gave the wrong answer.
And we just found out they made me watch a whole movie, but the only reason I'm here is for what about to transpire.
No. I've asked so many people, like, do I riff too much? Does Isaac riff too much? Do we go on too much? Like, and most people are like, no, that's the best part. This is so funny. So I'm like, well, why am I going to stop?
All right, here's my soapbox. Here's Soapbox Simpson, Lord of the... Anyway, I don't have any characters.
This is a characters podcast. You can
Riffing is amazing if it's in a context.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about the movie and the riffs are organic to the subject of the film, amazing. The same way if I write a comedy, I can't just do a one-liner out of nowhere. It will not have the impact of a one-liner in context of, oh, that guy's a kleptomaniac. So of course that line makes so much more sense, and it follows and they hold on to it. That's all I was saying, buddy.
No, I know. I'm making you.
For our listeners at home, he's holding a hammer and sickle. Not in a threatening way, but definitely in a way to let me know that he has them.
Just kind of in a power move way, just like
I
reminding
genuinely
me.
thought this was a popsicle, and he's telling me it's a sickle.
It's a sickle, yeah. There's no pop in that sickle.
Yeah, if you lick that, you'll bleed.
No, I mean, that's one of the rules of improv, though. Like, I love to bring it back to improv all the time because I think there's so many fundamentals of improv that can be used in your daily life. There's actually a book downstairs. It's like a therapist wrote it about how great improv is for your life. Anyway,
Yes.
my point about that is it's like you don't want to randomly pull something out of nowhere. That's why killing someone in any scene doesn't work. The whole Michael Scott thing from The Office.
Sure. Like the opening of Stage Fright 2014.
Oh my God. That was a pretty bad segue.
No.
The thing I was going to talk about a second ago was like the pronunciation of Arkansas.
You're right. You're right. That's it. The funniest part to me about this riff is that we talked around before we even got to the riff, before we got to this Arkansas bit at all. We went on for like 3 more minutes around it, and then we finally got back to it.
That's the meta riff.
That was meta, and I think that was probably a waste of time. So we can probably
Speaking
just
of
move
riffs, can you guys believe the riffs that
In
some
Stage
vocals
Fright?
in this Stage Fright 2014?
Not his smoothest one, but effective.
That was a little the good segue.
It was a little choppy. I'm sorry.
No. We can chop it up like they did with a knife in 2014.
Stage Fright 2014.
Stage Fright Team.
Can that be the title of this episode? It's just like in Stage
Fright 2014. That's actually a really good title.
Starring Minnie Drive.
Starring Minnie Driver. And
So just like in Stage
she's
Fright
eating Meatloaf.
2014, can
Oh my
you
God.
tell me about Stage Fright?
if you say 2014, in Stage Fright 2014, the director was Jeremy Sable. You guys know Jeremy Sable? You guys friends with him?
I don't know if I'm able to remember Jeremy Sable.
Never heard. Has he
That's
done
true.
something that I might have seen?
I grew up without cable, so I didn't know Jeremy Sable.
I don't think that I'm able to remember Jeremy Sable.
It's a fable.
I'm just going to put this cup down on this
Ever
table.
since the cradle, I haven't known.
Oh, that was a good one. I'll keep that on the label.
I'm really glad that High Horse Palomino is hiding safe in his stable.
Man,
Now let's get on with this
Yeah,
fable.
just lay your drink on the table.
you guys did the same one. It doesn't work that way.
Tower of Babel.
That we just had a conversation about how Isaac. We need to Spencer, wait here for a second. Hey, Isaac, we talked about this.
What's happening?
You can't say the same joke twice. And we just had a whole 5-minute riff about how a random thing doesn't make for funny.
You guys okay over there?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. Don't worry about us.
I'll just sit here.
Yeah, you're good.
So what are we
I'm
gonna
gonna
do?
put my pants
At
back
what
on.
point
and
do we
then I'm
like
gonna talk about?
unchain him from the chair that he's in? I discreetly I could chain him to the chair. Unchain. I don't know if that's.
I was gonna sing him Unchained Melody and
This
see if that
chair is
just works.
sweaty.
Good. That's good. No, that's good. It means it's working. It's doing its
Yeah.
job.
Yeah,
You
the chair starts to get wet,
you
and that's
burn
okay.
calories in that chair. That's why we're naked. That's why that happened.
Okay.
What? So you're implying that if I wasn't naked, which I'm not, or am I? Is anyone really naked? You're implying that if I wasn't naked right now, I would not be burning calories. But since I am naked, I'm
Yes.
burning calories.
It's mostly just like protecting your clothes. Don't want to get them all
Why
sweaty.
do we ever wear clothes?
Are you guys gonna come back?
Oh, right.
Because you walked so
Spencer,
far
we're back.
away.
Step. Hey, Spencer. Thanks for
Oh,
sitting
hey.
here for a second.
Object
Sorry
permanence.
Sorry
You're
about
going
the
to tell the
sweaty
viewers
chair.
at home that we didn't actually leave again? You
Hey,
snitch.
listeners at home, they didn't actually walk away. I just made you believe that they.
Wow.
Derek, do you want to sing Unchained Melody like as if you were in a musical right now, like Stage Fright 2014?
Oh, my God. Unchained Melody. There we go. That was from Carousel. Okay, so Jeremy Sable.
You've literally been in a show where you've sung that song before.
Unchained Melody?
Yes.
Oh, my love.
There you go,
Is that
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I was trying to sing the wrong song. That was genuine. I was trying to sing the wrong song.
So what you got? What you got?
Jeremy Sable is the writer, and he also wrote the music for this movie. And he directed it. And let's have a little conversation about him.
Oh, it
He's
says
done-
music, not even lyrics.
Both.
It just
It's
says music.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Jeremy or is it Jerome?
Oh.
It's Jerome. So Jerome Sable.
Jerome.
The man Googles himself 4 times a day. You will find out.
He forgets
Dude,
all the time.
Man, I do wonder that sometimes. I'm like, there's got to be some egotistical directors out
Have
there
seen your
who
show.
are constantly looking up movies and will eventually stumble upon ours.
I
have,
worry.
you know, all those times that I've reached out to people, I genuinely have done that.
That's a real bit. That actually happened.
Like when
That's
I've
amazing.
emailed producers and stuff,
It
I've done
genuinely
it.
means they have not gotten back.
Yes, that is
Nice.
100% true, and I'm sad.
Except one time.
Well, except for that one time he emailed me back and said you got to email someone else.
Yeah, so I'm not
It
the
was like,
guy.
this does nothing for me. That doesn't help.
Very
Give me his
unhelpful.
contact.
Oh, he didn't even give you the contact. He was just
like,
like,
give me his
email
personal
someone
phone number,
else.
I'll call him.
Start with Sarah@gmail.
Yeah,
Can you
please.
tell me?
Anything.
Here's
please.
7 digits. Figure out my full phone number.
24601. Was that?
Oh,
and
that's
there's
Les
two more.
Mis.
Yeah.
So that was a really good. We're bringing it back with
Someone
more.
keep a tally of all the
It was a musical,
references.
like Stage Fright 2014.
Yeah, you're bringing too much attention to the fact we don't talk about the movie enough. It's a highly guarded secret.
Oh goodness.
Like this bunker.
Anyway, so he hasn't really done anything. Like this is kind of his first big movie. If you look through his IMDb page, he did do a little short called The Legend of Beaver Dam that kind of like put him on the radar. It was also a movie musical.
Really?
Yeah, and he's done a segment for the movie ABCs of Death too. But other than that, he's just not done a lot.
This
All right, let me give you some insider information, dear listener, about getting movies pitched to distributors and
Ooh,
producers.
yes, please.
They are looking for things that are localizable, as in you can take it to another country, easily translate it, and that other country will get the concept, the jokes. Therefore, you can sell it. They really want something that we can just translate directly into Hindi, slap it down in India. Millions of people will love it. We'll make more money.
I assume musicals might be a bit harder to
The
pitch
worst.
then. Yeah, because
You cannot pitch a musical
way
to a
harder
low level.
To, like, translate lyrics in a musical and change that to make it fit within the melody, right?
For sure.
Like,
I have pitched a movie musical to a distributor that was like, don't even talk to me about a musical again.
wow.
Whoa.
Goodness.
And yet
I get that.
Bollywood is like so popular.
Incredible. Good
Like
stuff.
That's true.
Bollywood is like
But we don't translate the song.
no.
We just let them play.
Yeah, and Bollywood is basically hallmark of India, right? If you think
Absolutely.
about it. So like why isn't there like a Bollywood style hallmark in
Yeah,
America?
and in the domestic market, musicals, they're actually hit or miss, but sometimes they are massive successes. We got Greatest Showman and some other movies probably, but
Wicked, I'm
they
sure,
can do
will
very
be
well.
successful.
It's just that localization. So if you're not already a Hugh Jackman level property, you're not going to get, dear listeners, the on-air sign just turned on inside of their bunker, implying that we were not on air
Did it?
this entire time.
The entire
Did you just
time.
turn that on?
I might have hit it with my back a little
Were
bit.
we on water? Were we on rocks? Were we
We were
on
sand. Actually.
sand?
Yeah.
Earth, wind, fire.
the wise
all
man built his
September.
house upon?
Do you
Same.
remember the 21st night of September?
I do. This is a segue.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was actually a different month than what month it was in Stage Fright from 2014.
That was in
Okay.
the summer for sure. You're right. You're right.
Midsummer?
Midsummer.
Midsummer?
Midsummer.
Oh my gosh, it's so bright outside all day. That's what it's like to be.
Yeah. We're filming at 11 a.m., but in a bunker, time is completely.
But that's why we have this nice picture up on the wall to see. It's got like a sunshine. I drew that sun in the corner, there,
like in
and
the
there's
show
some
Silo.
grass,
That's nice.
And there's some dogs on
And
it.
over there, that's the movie Stage Fright from 2014. So,
Is it holding an award in its hand? What is that?
It's holding 2 nominations, actually.
nominations?
2 nominations. It was nominated for an audience award, an audience award at the South by Southwest Film Festival in 2014.
Oh, fun.
Did not win. It was nominated for an iHorror Awards direct release film, which is how I learned this movie did not release in theaters.
Did not
it
get a
just went
theatrical release.
straight to video.
Which I mean kind of tracks for it, right?
Yeah.
It does track, just like the movie with tracks, Stage Fright from 2014. Is it possible to segue back into yourself?
Yes, you segue away and from yourself. It's a little alley.
Reminds me of the time I segued to Stage Fright 2014.
Did you take a segue?
He borrowed it
We
from
took
Paul
an
Blart.
elevator. You were with me this whole time.
That was real?
That was real, the whole thing.
I thought you knocked me out because that whole time I was in Stage Fright from 2014.
I had stage fright that whole time.
From 2014. I don't think
Since
I had
2014.
I don't think I had Stage Fright in 2014.
Not that whole
Like
year.
if I can think back, no, I was in a band. I was in a band in 2014.
that would give me stage fright.
And we were playing at a coffee shop. I'll never forget that. And I was playing my trumpet. I was going, burp, 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 burp. And there was a person there who was like kind of glaring at me, and that kind of gave me stage
They were
fright.
angry at you.
Yeah.
They just really hate
So
trumpet.
ska band.
No, it was just a normal band with a trumpet. And you know,
Should have been a ska. Just your normal band.
Normal
with a trumpet.
band.
this is normal
Prog
band.
rock.
Ska.
Have you ever heard of Cake,
It's true.
the vegetable,
Spongy.
and the band?
The veg. No, hold
The
on.
vegetable.
So-
the vegetable.
No, that band broke up because I asked that I could maybe sing some background vocals, and then they never literally ghosted me, and then the band just stopped doing stuff.
Wow, goodness.
Wow, they made a lot of ghosts in Stage Fright 2014.
Hey, that was a really good one.
There was the murder.
Derek, do you have any other information to share with us about Stage Fright
I would,
2014?
but if I hear Stage Fright 2014 one more time, I might lose it. So, no, I'm just kidding.
It's just SF2014.
SF2014. So Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at a 38% for this movie. The audience score is at a 27, or the popcorn meter, I guess is what I should call
Yeah,
it now.
they've rebranded the audience meter.
It's because
for some reason.
in the Tomato Tower, he looks down across the valley of all the people, and we're all
Yeah.
just colonels to him.
I guess
But
that's
not
fair.
in an army. We're like colonels of popcorn. We're
Yeah,
just
exactly.
duds.
It's not
I
like
get it.
colonel.
I do
It's
get it.
colonel.
You got that joke?
I did.
Did you get the references to musicals in Stage Fright from 2014?
I hope it did. I don't know now.
The IMDb is sitting at 5.2. Letterboxd is at a 2.8.
Are you saying that the critics was higher than the audience? It was 38 versus 27?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that is weird. That is
Interesting.
That is weird. That's
Not
as-
common.
Not common for us.
Especially not common because we've touched on this a couple times. Movie musicals don't sell well. A lot of people are not as into musicals, right? So, like, I'm actually surprised that the critics here are rating a movie musical higher than the audience, the popcorn meter was.
Yeah,
It kind
absolutely.
of feels a little unheard of.
It feels pretty unheard of. Like Stage Fright.
Like the
from
songs
2014.
Yeah.
I'm getting really tired of that bit. But like I can't physically stop doing
I'm
it.
stuck. Yeah, it's
It's
we
all
gotta
of my
keep-
mental conditions just coming into play. There's no budget for this movie. I can't find it anywhere. I did look around for it.
Limitless
Could not
dollars.
find it. But it did gross $7,000.
A whopping.
And now
Wow.
7,003 because I spent $3 on this movie.
Well, look at that. We're contributing to society. A better tomorrow for indie
right.
movies.
2014, only 10 years ago. If you had to guess, what was the budget? I'm saying they had 2 major talent.
Yep.
Yep.
One of them
they
only
did.
for a day, clearly.
And one of
Minnie
them
Driver and Meatloaf.
One of them kind of at their end of their prime, right?
True.
This was
Yeah.
pretty close
Waning
to
years for Meatloaf.
his death, right? So he was probably fairly cheap. He did not write any music.
Was he
for
on the
movie.
production? Do we have
Not-
any indication? Okay. They
Not
paid
that
him.
I can
Great.
tell. It looks
Just
like
showed up
he-
and acted.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can understand, he was just there singing.
Yep.
Right.
Okay,
I would.
my guess. Oh, go for it.
No, please.
I'm going to guess principal production 400.
Yeah,
And then
that's fair.
mini driver's fee on top of that.
Okay. I was gonna say like 200, like 240.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
Just because it was one location, right? They reused that.
Oh, so
same
you assume it
location.
was in a single...
It definitely seemed that way.
Just one camp. Because it
Yeah.
all does all take
Sure.
place.
It does
a
all take
theater
place in that camp. That camp was probably pretty cheap. They probably didn't need very much. And then it was mostly kids. It was mostly kids on this in the production.
Yeah.
You know? And as far as like the fact that the music was written by the same guy who
Yeah,
produced,
that's all
who directed
post-work.
it, wrote it, and produced it. And also Eli, who was the other writer of the film, he was actually in the movie as one of the actors as well.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It didn't feel expensive to me.
Yeah.
But it did have a lot of props,
Yeah.
and the kill effects were pretty good.
The production
pretty
value
good.
was pretty up there, considering like what we were going into, what we were expecting of it. I was actually kind of shocked by that.
I've just seen a lot more for a lot less.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So that's why I'm assuming they didn't spend too much money on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But,
we've seen
I
Blood
mean-
and Honey. We all know.
We've all seen
Yeah.
Blood and Honey.
Have you seen Blood and Honey? Did you watch
Not
it?
seen Blood and
Okay,
Honey.
you listened
I just
to
watched
it.
the trailer.
just through our words on it.
Also, Meatloaf looked rough in this movie. We're kind of out of time here. Normally we do some Rotten Tomatoes reviews, but we got to get started on the movie.
Yeah.
I just want to give one review
Lay it on me.
from the Austin Chronicle, who praised the film, saying the best unconventional operetta since South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Which some might take as a compliment. But if you've seen the South Park movie,
I have. It was great.
And Derek loved it.
Well, okay, now
No, Derek loved it.
That came out when I was 5. Stop gaslighting.
because he
me.
read that to us prior to watching the movie, and I said that's the best way of wording an insult I've ever heard. And then Derek said, "What are you talking about? The South Park movie was very
Just
good."
thinly
What?
veiled
Okay.
insult there.
To be fair, I haven't seen that movie since I was 10 years old. So,
And
like,
as a 10-year-old, it was the best thing you'd ever seen.
literally, I remember my friend gave me a don't pirate movies. He gave me a pirated copy
Arrgh.
of Bigger,
If
Longer.
only there was a
Here's
song
your
about
movie,
not
Derek.
pirating.
Oh, thank you, pirate. Do you remember the other day when I was lost in a grocery store and you like did things?
Oh, he left. He ghosted you.
He's a ghost pirate, just like. Not there wasn't any ghost pirates in this movie.
Crickets.
There could have been.
Listeners, the on-air sign turned off.
Oh no, we're off air. What's going on?
So we're off air, but
Ugh.
we should get on track. And can we talk about our
Stage fright
expectations?
for-
Stage Fright 2014.
Yeah, let's talk about next bit.
Let's talk about our expectations. So, Spencer, did you wrote up some expectations?
I've got some expectations. I'm just rattling them off. All right, number
gonna go.
one,
He's gonna go for it.
under-rehearsed group numbers. These
Yeah.
are
Oh.
expectations following having watched the trailer.
Yes.
That was a good expectation.
Tired gay stereotypes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really
yes.
thought that was coming. 24-year-old, 10-year-old. Where we have actors that they desperately want us to believe are very young.
Fantastic.
Conspicuous
better writing
limiting of locations. Really thought that was going to be like very obvious. Like that's the same spot but from the other angle.
Yeah,
that kind
Great
of thing.
expectation.
Mhm.
Phantom of the Opera motivation dump.
Okay.
Thought we were going to get one of those where they walk into the sewers and it's like, oh, I was born here. You know, they do all that.
Okay.
Hey, it's me, the Phantom of the Opera.
That's pretty good. I mean, my
Uncanny.
general expectation for this movie was that it was going to be campy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're talking like it's at a theater camp, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely like camp in that literal sense, and also camp in just its general campy nature.
Interestingly, no camping occurs.
No one
We
camps.
never see them pitch
I
a
don't think
tent.
anyone
There's no s'mores.
no s'mores, no fireworks,
No
no.
one's singing around the fire.
And again,
no
their
one's getting
budget was
murdered.
$400,000
Wow.
plus Minnie driver's fee. So they could have.
They gave her so much meatloaf, man. Like literally, she walked onto the set and she's like, "Where's my meatloaf?" Like, why are you talking like that,
They're
Minnie?
actually-
She's like, "Cause I just broke up with Mickey."
Did you catch
They're-
her and Meatloaf never in the same room?
They're- well, they had
Did you
to
get that when they did the thing at the end? Like clearly, those actors had never been.
Well,
in the
they
same
had
room.
to keep them in the same or separate from each other because Minnie Driver has such an insatiable
Yeah.
hunger
She would eat
for
that meatloaf,
meatloaf,
yeah.
and we had to keep him safe from her because she sees him and his name is Meatloaf, legal name
Yeah.
Meatloaf.
He already had the restraining order.
She tries to eat him.
Our
And they're
hands
gonna
were
be on the
tied, just
same-
like my hands are tied in this chair.
Nice, very good, good callback.
just like in Stage Fright 2014.
Hey, someone does get their hands tied. You know, Minnie Driver is on record with a DVD of Rocky Horror Picture Show that's just eaten like a fourth of it. It's just eaten.
It's just the fourth because the
Meat-
quarter that
that
Meatloaf is in.
I didn't think it was going to be a bit. I really thought he was going to say. There was going to be like,
Welcome to
and she
doing-
agreed to do this movie for free because Meatloaf asked her, something like that.
I'm sorry. One thing you need to learn about me, which you probably have,
We'll never
in
be
the last
conventional.
40 minutes, is I say things very genuinely and then go into bits. Isaac's been dealing with it for long enough. So.
That is kind of funny. It was a struggle for sure. Like when we first became friends, I was like, I don't know what's real and what's fake. You know, he's so good at playing genuine things, and then it goes off into this craziness, and I believe anything he says.
When we were on that elevator, both of them were silent.
Yeah,
I can't stress to you enough, dear listener, that I had no idea what they were like until the elevator door opened. And again, hours. 3
Hours
hours
of silence,
descending like into
meditating.
a Soviet tunnel.
I haven't asked you yet, though. You did enjoy all the meatloaf, right?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, I enjoyed the meatloaf.
I enjoyed zero of the meatloaf.
I enjoyed none of the meatloaf in Stage Fright from 2014. So my expectations, my expectations. Well, let's just.
Dear listener, now you know, Spencer. Spencer, you want to tell the dear listener
listener,
what just happened?
The phantom of one of their characters came through the wall, and it struck Isaac's hand with such force that his cup full of 1,000 dead actors' blood spilled out upon his brow.
Do you want to wipe up with Garfield?
And now they're looking around for a
He's going to
napkin.
be really upset. His drink is all over me now.
I'm so sorry.
Am I going to die? Am I going to die? This
You
blood
got a
of
little,
failed,
you got a little bit right there.
blood of failed mothers is all over. I
Blood of
feel all
failed
their
mothers.
failures.
Blood of failed
What's
mother.
a failed mother? Oh no!
Well, while Isaac's cleaning up,
Yeah. What's what you got?
hey man,
Yeah,
I know you're mad at me. I'm really
I'm
sorry.
not mad. It's mostly funny, honestly. But I am covered in Kool-Aid and Sprite now.
There's a little something in your
Oh no! The little something
Something,
is
something.
burning me alive.
It was
Oh,
acid
that's the
battery.
other thumb.
I put battery acid in Isaac's drink.
And it tastes wonderful. So, what are your expectations?
A little tangy, just like this movie.
Stage Fright 2014.
My first expectation is a weak attempt at theater. Like, they're not going to do
Yes.
it realistic. Like, I just watched the movie Ghostlight a little while ago that was like a perfect representation of how theater works.
Yes.
And I assumed that there was just no way it was going to be.
And that's kind of the thing. The three of us are men who have been on stage and acted, right? So we know us men. We're doing theater. We are theater men. But so like we know exactly what would be unrealistic in this movie about this stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
My first expectation was this is going to be detrimental for the quote unquote good name of theater.
whatever name of
Whatever there is, whatever good there is in the reputation of a theater person, it's just going to be detrimental, ruinous for any of that. Even for me, a
absolutely.
person who enjoys musical theater.
for sure. A hilarious, but when it's not supposed to be.
Yes.
Like, it is labeled a horror comedy, right? So like I expected some laughs, but I expected it to be one of those situations where half the time it wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, you laugh when they weren't expecting you to do it.
Yeah.
My next one was
Sick
theater.
burn, guys. You just walked in. I just assumed it would be a bad movie.
Hey, no such thing as a bad movie.
That's true.
We're big
No
on
such
that.
thing.
I said theater-themed kills. That we saw in the trailer, there's one that involves like the ghost light on a stage, the light bulb involving that. And we're like, okay, cool. We love seeing things like that. We saw that when we watched Thanksgiving, and
Yep.
there was Dr. Giggles also did some doctor-themed kills. So,
Green
like,
one I bring up all the time.
we love exactly. We love themed kills. So I was hoping for some more of that stuff.
Is it my turn?
Oh, it's your turn.
Oh, sweet.
Dear listener, he was on the other side of the bunker when Isaac stopped, so he couldn't see him. That's how he didn't know that it was his turn.
You ran back to the microphone.
He couldn't possibly have known just by the fact that Isaac stopped.
Dear
so he
listener,
had to.
Spencer's a dick. Just kidding. He's a great guy. Shockingly good music is my next one. Like, Isaac's scared of drinking his drink next to me. He's going to punch it and it's going to splash all over him.
I get
The best
scared.
thing about that kind of comedy, like that they can't see,
We
is that
can
they
never-
can't see it.
Yeah, no.
They have no idea. I
We can just
splashed
say that. We can just start
drink
laughing right
all
now and be
over
like,
you.
I just punched Derek in the face.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, the music's going to be like surprisingly good.
Yeah. I said there will be deaths happening on stage like during a performance. I was thinking it was one of those things where they get to because clearly like
Yeah.
what's happening in this is they're putting on a show. And I was like, what's going to happen? Someone's going to die literally on stage in front of people. They're going to cheer like, wow, so impressive, so realistic. I can't believe it. But it's actually going to be real life murder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Meatloaf will be so stale. Like they left him out on the counter for a while. And
Not
he just
even
gets,
Minnie
like,
Driver
pretty
would touch it.
Stale. Yeah, like Minnie Driver would walk away from
And
that.
she ate a DVD one time.
I'm loving this like lore we're creating of
Oh,
this
it's not lore, it's
monster
real.
Minnie Driver who just like goes ravenous for meatloaf.
I just see her in the corner of a bakery. I was here for loaves of meat, not loaves of bread.
Please, Minnie, we're so tired. There's no more meat left in the whole town.
Give me the meatloaf.
We
My God,
Sweeney
your
Todded
British
the
accent
whole
is amazing.
town.
Thank you. This is British. I genuinely keep forgetting that Minnie Driver is a British woman. Please, Minnie
I love
Driver.
the idea that someone's going to write in to that hotline that you guys have and
Yes.
say, she's absolutely not British. What
She's
are you talking
absolutely not
We
British.
do
Enough.
actually have a hotline that people can write into. Had a couple messages a couple times, but most of the time, no one.
I said in Stage Fright 2014, I was expecting I was expecting it to be much more brutal than I had initially thought. I was expecting not so great budget, so that meant some less impressive kills and stuff. I was expecting campy ridiculousness. I was not expecting them to go so hard on some of the murders, but just from watching the trailer, there were already some bits where I was like, "Whoa, this might actually go a little far."
Yeah. That
trailer
Which I was
was hard.
honestly like, I think the three of us can agree we were kind of excited after watching this trailer.
Oh Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
It got me
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
hyped.
I was definitely way more excited after that. Anyway,
Yeah.
final expectation.
Final expectation.
Kid.
Actors.
Kid actors. You got a little
Actors.
meatloaf on the
Kid
table.
actors.
What comes
Kid
around the corner
actors.
to eat
Kid
that loaf?
actors.
It's a kid. He
actors.
doesn't like
Kid
meatloaf.
actors.
So what
Kid
does he do?
actors.
He acts
Kid
it out. He
actors.
says,
Kid
kid actors.
Kid actors.
That was
What?
the worst verse.
Right on. You didn't kill a kid this time.
You don't know what was in
I thought I did pretty well on that verse.
Yeah, that one was all right.
I was really good.
We can keep that take. I know it was
Thank
a take
you.
like what? It's been a couple hours now,
my
so it's
God,
probably
it's
take
9 p.m.
57. I think we got
I
it.
feel
now.
attached to this chair at this point.
That one-
I've
that
been
one's
sitting here a
pretty-
very long time.
I am glued to this chair.
That's the sweat and the chains. I mean, no chains. There's no chains.
No, why would there be?
That'd be really really
Well, yeah, I
Fellas,
think it's
is
time.
Is it time to dive into this movie?
Yeah.
Is it time to let's
Tell me what the timestamp is.
Is 55 minutes.
let's set the stage.
Hey, listen, there's something we should have mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Every time we have a guest on, it elongates the episode by a large amount.
Yes.
It's going to be a special.
I'm
you
just
know.
so interested.
I mean, I went back and looked at our last two
so
guests.
much to listen. Like, there's just so much to say about the wondrous,
Yeah.
the splendor that is Spencer Wilhelmina Ford.
Yeah.
Is that really your middle name?
Is that for real? Is that no joke? He's giving us this look.
Dear listener, that's not my actual middle name. I said that for comedic effect. I thought that it might be a little bit tongue-in-cheek if I were to give you a false name. And I apologize
Listen,
to all
but
of my constituents.
I believed it.
I-
I thought it could be true.
I did a double take. I was like, what? Why haven't I heard that before? That's incredible. It was beautiful, gorgeous. And I was kind of hopeful. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed. Out
my
of all the lies
mother
you've
was
told me-
a Swiss dairy maid.
Switzerlandian.
I'm named after her.
So she's a bunch of holes in her.
like the cheese.
I didn't get it. My brain said World War II, Nazis invade. she has been shot many times.
Those kinds
Derek
of
wants to bring
holes.
up my horrible memories.
What? Is your mom okay?
No one does have a lot of holes. The plot of
Stage Fright 2014.
The following story is based on true events.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It opens up with
Great
one of
opener.
those.
Yeah, it does. I love it when movies
that
do
you
that.
wish was narrated by some deep voiced, really dramatic man. But it basically, it's kind of funny. It sets it up as a campy movie because it basically says the following is based on true events. All of the names have been have been changed to protect the lives of the people in it. But all of the songs have been performed exactly as they were in real life. I'm like,
Amazing.
okay.
That was so
we're,
funny.
We're getting pretty funny, right? So we start off with this man who's running on stage looking a bit frightened. There's this masked killer that is supposed to be like Phantom of the Opera-esque, right? It's a pretty plain, just white, just basic mask, right? Nothing to it. And then he stabs, this masked killer kills this man, stabbing him straight in the chest. Immediate murder.
Immediately.
We're just right into it. And it looks pretty believable. I'm like, this
yeah.
dude just got for real stabbed for sure. And then who's that? Well, it's the Meatloaf monster herself, Minnie Driver.
Meatloaf Monster Minnie Driver.
She sings, she runs out on stage and she looks at him all sad and then goes, no. She starts singing. I was like, okay. Now I get a bit. Thank you. Now I understand what we're doing here. So she's singing out no to him as she finds the murder, and she's singing as he dies in her arms. Okay, so now this is a production. We're in a staged production in front of an audience, right? And I literally just wrote, "Oh, this is going to be a musical." I wasn't sure
absolutely.
how much singing was going to even be happening, right? So they do a production. The crowd goes wild. Okay, everything went really well. Now Minnie Driver is backstage, and her kids come back here to visit her. She has 2 children. It is Camilla and Buddy. Those are their names.
Classic.
And they will be our
Real name. I thought for the longest time they're
That
just
Buddy was-
referring to him as Buddy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, hey, bud.
What's up, Buddy?
Who names their kid Buddy? That's like
So in a dramatic scene, it's hard to say no, Buddy.
No, exactly right. Like, how can you say that? Like, Buddy kills someone very close. You're like, Buddy, you can't. It just can't happen, right?
I've seen the movie Elf.
It's like, but see, even
And Will Ferrell plays a really dramatic character called Buddy.
really
in that
his
film.
darkest role was Buddy.
was.
Yeah, he had layers.
He did, and I don't understand what you guys are talking about. I think Buddy is a very serious name. As I'm cracking up.
Just dying, cracking at the seams. Minnie Driver's backstage. Her kids visit her. They playfully ask for her autograph because their mom's a star. Meatloaf, the person, not the food, shows up, and now he's here as her producer. They kiss each other. It seems like they're romantically involved with each other. He is not.
I did not pick that up from that.
Yeah, it
No,
was very hard to pick up at all. I only really know because I went to look at like the Wikipedia page for it, because sometimes it's happened a couple times in movies where we go and watch a thing like, I need this to be spelled out for me because I was not clear enough in this scene, and that was one of these, right? So he's not the father of Camilla and Buddy, but he is currently involved romantically with Minnie Driver's character. So Minnie Driver's daughter Camilla, she walks out onto this empty stage, and we see this Phantom of the Opera like killer kind of like lurking in the background. He then makes his way into Minnie's dressing room and then starts kind of like feeling her up. She's like, no, we can't do this. They'll find us. So it would appear that there's some affair going on here with whoever is playing the character of the Phantom of the Opera, right?
No.
Could not believe her. The Meatloaf couldn't believe her either. So then as he's kind of grabbing her from behind, he then turns her around and stabs into her neck over and over in a very brutal fashion. Like, I was shocked at this.
You could say she got Goodwill Hunted. Famous movie she was in.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, I've been holding on to that joke, like literally since I saw Minnie Driver was in this movie.
I'm sorry I didn't laugh immediately. That was actually really good.
Really
Do you
good.
want to take again? You want to go again?
Okay.
Yeah.
You could say she got Goodwill Hunted. Oh my gosh! I agree that it is very funny as well. I am inside of this joke.
You know this man.
Wilhelmina, Wilhelmina.
This man right here, Wilhelmina Ford, he does not have stage fright 2014. Keep going.
Goodness. So Minnie Driver dies in a brutal fashion. So stabbed into the neck. You see this like prosthetic neck get stabbed into quite a few times.
This is like 5 minutes into the movie.
Then one final time straight into her mouth. Like, that was an impressive
Through
effect.
teeth, between teeth. Really well done.
Very brutal.
Makes me very
Good
curious
prosthetic, though.
how they pulled it off, because it looks great.
Well, I think so. Once the knife went into her mouth, they pulled it off by like literally pulling it out of her mouth. Yeah,
Wow.
probably did that back at the coroner's office when she was getting checked out.
When she was dead after she really died.
Yeah, that's how-
Has anyone seen Minnie Driver after this movie?
No, I haven't seen
don't
her
know.
since. People die in movies all the time.
All the time. Yeah, that's perfectly legal. So her daughter Camilla wakes up now as like she's not an adult. She's like a teenager, right?
I was confused.
Yeah,
She's working a job, but she's working a job that could be done by a 15. So
I'm not sure exactly what age she is supposed to be, but she's older now. She wakes up from this nightmare, and now it's a full-blown musical, guys. We get a school bus full of kids going to a real theater camp. They're singing and dancing as like this full, campy, ridiculous, the kind of musicals that people who know nothing about musicals assume when they hear the word, right?
And
it's like la
dread.
la, singing, dancing. It's all kind of ridiculous, makes you roll your eyes. And, you're
And
like,
a very
why are you
happy
here?
musical number. They're
Yes.
happy to be at camp. The theme is we're getting this reprieve from life. Life has been awful to us. Here we are at camp. It's gonna be great.
We've all come together. We're all our outcasts in our life, right? It goes a lot harder on the whole musical thing than I was expecting, because it is just completely tropey campiness, 100%. I literally wrote, I can't believe what is happening here. They're singing about how they're all outcasts. They love musicals. One kid sings about how musicals, quote, make him feel gay. And he says, but not that way. And he's like, no, I love dating girls. And then there's an actual gay man that comes up. He's like, I'm just really actually gay.
You know, I think that everyone at home should go look up the gay song from, because that's what it's called.
We
on
kind of
YouTube.
spoiled it for ourselves when we
Yeah.
watched the trailer, because a recommended video right after it was like, was scared straight. What? That's not what this movie is. We've said it 90 times. Stage Fright,
Stage Fright from
2014.
Scared
And it
straight,
said,
24.
and then it said the
very
name of the
different.
song was the gay song.
Which I do want you to watch it, but also watch it with the caveat that like it's not how actual theater is.
No.
At all. This is so blown out of proportion. It is so stupid.
Perfect, like heightened reality for sure. Ridiculous.
Okay, the biggest unreality they portrayed in that scene to me is the man who says, I am the straight man at this theater camp, and all the women are hanging off of him.
Yeah.
Not reality.
Yeah.
No.
As a man who is purportedly on the record as being married to a woman,
Yep.
Yeah, same.
never would happen to me. Also, it might help that I'm incredibly unattractive. I have a terrible personality.
Oh, no.
Sweetheart, you are hot as
But
hell.
it is my experience that men
Hot as
that
the
these
day is
women
wide.
felt like would not be trying to hit on them, whatever you would
Yes.
take,
Yeah.
they're more likely to gravitate toward.
It is
And that
kind
just
of-
makes sense.
It is kind of funny. I went to a performing arts high school where there were the majority of men were gay men, and so like I was one of the few straight ones there. And that's a thing that people say a lot. They're like, "Oh, all the girls were all over you." I'm like, "No, that's not. It's a strange thing for you to assume. You know, I don't understand why you would assume that of the situation." But
Were they just talking about your Barbies?
my Barbies, yeah, that's all it was. Me and my dolls that I love to play with. I carried them around all the time. Derek says I can't bring them on the podcast. He doesn't like their voices.
Not anymore. They all talk like this.
They sound like this. I love to play with my Barbie.
Is that your high horse?
No.
Is that your high horse impression? Get out of here. Me and Spencer
No, I have,
will
a,
be
I, have
the
a great,
Florida
I
Rhythm.
have a great high horse, but we're not. The world's not ready for that one. So Camilla and Buddy work at this theater camp. It is run by Meatloaf, and it apparently is not doing so well. Is at the risk of bankruptcy. They're going to have to shut it down.
They hand him a bunch of foreclosure kind of notices, but all of them are in this faded ink.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that was typed 45
40
years
like
ago.
they were made 40 years ago.
But also, it's a kids' camp, and there are kids at this camp.
They
We
had
have
to
to
pay.
assume they
That's
had
the
to
minimum
pay.
bar of success at these camps.
Yeah.
Like,
And they are there. There's a freaking busload.
There's a ton of kids.
How is he going out of business?
No idea. And mind you, the age range of is this crazy. There's like literal like very small kids to like kids that could almost be adults.
Yeah, and there's only like 2 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
everyone
no,
else is like
there's
in their
a wide
teens.
range of children that I wasn't sure like what the age range was here for this camp. But the biggest thing is so like now Meatloaf's character is basically taking care of Camilla and Buddy. He's basically stepped in as their caretaker now. He's in charge of this camp, and now he's talking to them about how this year they're putting on this big show. They're gonna have Broadway producers and talent scouts. Is gonna be the huge thing. Like their mother's gonna be really proud of it.
because what show are they doing?
The show they're putting on this year.
Arkansas.
Nope, not even that. And is it less producerables? Is that another one that they had?
Les
Yeah.
producers,
And the producers.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. No,
I know it's Arkansas.
the show that they're putting on is Haunting of the Opera, not Phantom of the Opera. 'Cause I can't say that. Can't be having that.
but
that is
two
the-
different movies.
That is the very show where Minnie Driver died. So they're literally putting on the show that where these kids' mother was murdered.
And it must have been famously, right? If you hear a Broadway star
yeah.
on opening night or in the opening of a show died,
murdered?
you hear that story.
Backstage.
That's coming
Oh,
up.
absolutely. Everyone will know that.
The moment that show's revived, we all hear about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Especially at a little camp in the middle of the mountains with a
Yeah.
bunch of teenagers.
You're like, I'm
strange.
sorry, by the same producer? Is he
What?
sick? What's
Is
he
he
doing?
insane?
with her daughter?
It's honestly kind of crazy that he's like, your mother would be proud of this. Like, yeah, she'd be really proud that you're putting on the production that killed her. I'm
The
sure she
proudest
would
moment
love
of her
that.
life was the knife through the throat. Yeah.
Goodness. So Camilla, oddly enough, really wants to audition to play the role her mother played all those years ago. Because it seems like after that whole thing, it seems like her and brother took a step away from theater, not too fond of it. I mean, I suppose they work at this theater camp, but like she has not done theater until this point. So she's like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to try out for the big role. And they're making some interesting choices with this production of The Haunting of the Opera because they're going to make it take place in feudal Japan. Yep. Which I think the only
Right.
reason they wanted to do that was because they wanted to do it in kabuki style and give the killer a
The
kabuki
mask,
style
yeah.
mask. I think that is literally the only reason they would have to
the
do it
only
like
reason
this.
they wanted to do it
yeah.
that
Her brother is so unnecessarily aggressive against the idea of a theater camp.
He hates
He
theater
comes out
camp.
swinging,
Yes.
is like, you work at this camp, buddy.
Dude.
You gotta quit if this is how you
Seriously.
feel.
Get out of here. He is strong anti-theater kid stance for sure. There's a quick moment here where we get a glimpse of some angry, what I assume the killer of the story, in some dark den with these bloody pictures of all the camp kids, and he's just talking about how he hates
Wow.
theater kids.
He has a bunch of pictures of minors up on his
Yeah,
wall.
that's not
That's
good.
concerning.
All of it's
And
bad.
also, where did he get them? They just got here.
right? Like
They
I don't.
just got. Did he take all their headshots?
How is he finding
Must
all
have
of
been the headshots.
No
yeah.
idea.
It's got to
no
be a
idea.
giveaway of who the killer might be. It's got to be someone who works there, right?
So Camilla now tries to sneak her way into auditioning for the play because apparently cooks aren't allowed to audition for this. Like, I guess that's just a no-no. You're not allowed to do that, right? She does manage to sneak her way past Joel, is the guy who's running the door, to be like, give me your name and your bunk number so we keep track of all the stuff, right? At first she's like, I don't know, I might get in trouble, but then she, sweet talks him, and so he lets her in. And she's a decent singer, though, and it looks like the production team is also impressed by her for her audition.
Yeah.
And so,
emphasis decent singer.
decent singer.
Did not blow us away,
No,
but
no.
they
There
played
were-
the scene as though she had blown them away.
There were some moments where I was like, yeah, no, she's actually pretty good. Some moments not so great. And that's the same for pretty much
But it's
everybody
important
in
for
this
the
movie.
plot that we believe she's amazing because
Exactly.
everyone
They're
responds
really-
that way.
They're really blown away by her, right?
Something kind of irrelevant, but also kind of comes back.
Yeah.
Is her costume always has some way of covering her forehead.
Yeah.
So she always has bangs.
Uh-huh.
But then one time she has a hat, and then there's another time she has a big feather.
Just one
going
feather
across
covering
a
her
single
forehead.
feather
One
across her
single
forehead, a scarlet red We didn't
was just
see
me.
a headband attached to it.
Yeah, it was very strange that they, like, you guys pointed that out and kept pointing it out. I'm like, you're right. And it kept being true until it wasn't, and it felt like there was almost a point to be made
It
about it.
feels like there was a point to it, and we'll come back.
Yeah,
to that.
we'll come back around to that. So there's this girl who is also auditioning to be the lead in the show, right? She's jealous about the fact that she's here at all. She's like, she doesn't go here. She's the cook. So she goes to get Meatloaf, who's running this whole thing, to expose Camilla for doing this illegal thing by auditioning, right? He's upset. But he does allow her to audition, right? So long as she gets no special treatment by also, like, I guess because the fact that he runs the place, would assume she gets some kind of other special star treatment. I don't really know. But so she got the big role, but she has been double cast in the show. She's it's the only role in the show
greatest
that has
insult
been
in
double
all of theater to be double cast.
It is kind of sad though, because literally everybody else is there's one person to their role. She's the only one that is double cast there, and that's just because the director is a
I have
shitty
actually
guy.
been in a production where that's happened before.
Yeah.
Where there was one character double cast and everyone else.
That
was
makes
single
sense for the most technical delivery of songs, the most dancing. You just want to have your backup so that if anything goes wrong,
Oh,
and then
exactly.
if they're doing the most intensive work, they don't have to be strained every night.
Right,
Makes sense to
exactly.
me.
Yeah, exactly. Like doing that and like understudying and stuff. Like it does make sense. It's just funny that like for her specifically, there's just the one. But
in this camp.
Right.
in this camp.
So it's
But
funny,
they
in
should have,
universe,
like,
they
3
take it as
casts.
this massive insult. Me on the sidelines, I'm like, yeah, sounds great.
And what's
Yeah,
really
that's your
funny
director mind,
is
though. It's
this
got
is a
your writer
theater
brain.
camp. They don't really do a lot of like theater learning or anything like that. They just put on this show, and we're to believe that they're putting on a show that is to be seen by Broadway producers
Yeah.
to take this show and mount it on Broadway.
This
The
exact
A
show.
plot of the show is Meatloaf, the producer, is going to remount a show where a woman died.
Yes.
Using 10-year-olds and kabuki framing.
Yeah.
With the hopes that Broadway professional real people producers will watch it and be like, those 10-year-olds acculturating Japanese theater styles better be on Broadway tomorrow.
Mind
Doesn't
you,
make any
every bit we see of these kids, like outside of like the actual planned and like recorded and studio produced numbers, like they're just kind of singing out loud, and they're not that impressive.
No, man.
These are the kids that are going to Broadway. Are we sure?
No, man. But like throughout this whole thing, it keeps cutting back to Meatloaf sitting at his desk, angrily opening letters, not well, and like constantly.
You think them on his letter opening?
He was bad at it, man.
Could have been better at opening those letters.
Look at you. Go back and watch that movie again, and you tell me that man knew how to open a letter. He was like shoving his fingers in there. Rest in peace, Meatloaf. But like seriously,
Well, no, really, what I was judging about it was because his hands were shaking so much because he was scared of Meatloaf monster Minnie Driver. He's lurking in the corner.
oh my goodness.
So her brother is not very happy about the fact that she's doing this show. He is not into theater kids, especially since they both work in the kitchen. If
Dear
she's
listener,
gone, he's gonna have to
one
take
of our
over.
hosts has pulled out a puppet. I don't know what else to say other
There's a
than
puppet in
I
the
didn't expect there to be any puppets.
A puppet in the studio
in
What's
this
happening?
bunker.
What's happening? Hello?
Hey guys, it's me, Science Jim.
There's
I made the dogs bark because I knocked on the door too loud. That's my bad. I didn't mean to.
what's happening, Science Jim? Is
Well-
there science to be shared?
No, but I'm kind of just like a guy now.
Okay, yeah.
You haven't had me on the podcast in like 10 episodes.
I've missed
and
you. I sincerely have
I've
missed you,
missed
Science
being here.
Jim.
Can I just tell you real quick why his name is Meatloaf?
Oh, there's a reason.
Is that okay?
I don't know why I've never thought like it has to come from somewhere.
So
Like Cher comes from the fact that she was so giving. Yeah,
Okay.
obviously.
is
yeah.
that true?
No.
Is that not true? Is Aquafina her name because she really likes water?
Really likes what? Yeah.
absolutely.
Beyonce because her name's Beyonce.
Oh, and just like you're Wilhelmina. By the way, I'm Science Jim. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I can't move. I'm here.
Why did you tie him to the chair? I thought you stopped doing that.
We just like he's the first guest that's like actually sat down in it. Everybody else runs away too fast. I just didn't want to lose him.
That makes sense. So, according to Meatloaf, he has actually said multiple times he hates it when people ask him. So he
Really?
he just makes up different stories.
Every time.
He makes up different stories. But the most
Like
common
the Joker.
the most common story, which is so weird, and he told Oprah this, so it like might be true. He was born bright red, and his dad said he looks like a 9.5 pound ground chuck. So he said, just put meat on his crib. That's that story. And he said that his coach said, "Get off my foot, you hunk of meatloaf," when he was in 8th grade, and it
Okay.
just stuck.
Okay.
His real name is, and I'll tell you when I scroll up,
I'm scared.
Michael Lee Addy.
Is it Michael or is it Marvin?
Michael.
Ma, are you sure? Are you
When he was first born,
Later
and whispering this in
known.
your no, calm down. Don't read my.
He's
article.
whispering in my ear. This is terrifying.
He was born Marvin, but then he changed it to Michael.
And then to Meatloaf.
And then to Meatloaf.
What a pipeline. The Michael to Marvin to Meatloaf pipeline is a slippery slope.
Anyway, it was good to be back. Can I get on a high horse? No, go away.
No, go. Right.
I must say, if you're the one that gave yourself a very unusual trait, you can't get mad at people for asking it.
No, really.
Oh, absolutely.
If I start going around as Meatloaf, I'm asking for that, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna have to deal with people asking.
There
about
was
that.
a while I was going by chicken pie, and
Yeah.
I was genuinely so tired of people being like, chicken pie.
Chicken- what's that
What does
about?
that
You
mean?
know.
And I was like, well, I just really like chicken pie. And it got old. So I
Yeah.
changed it back to Derek.
So now he's Derek again.
I was
Derek's
once
a
at an
chicken
event
pie.
with historians, people who had done into the Japanese American internment experience specifically.
Yes.
Very interesting stuff. I recommend everyone look it up. I walk up to one woman. I'm like, how did you become involved with this movement? She was working at one of the former camps, helping the historical stuff. She goes, you're just going to have to read my book.
Whoa.
I got so annoyed. That is the most
Goodness.
flippant thing.
Oh, my goodness.
So Meatloaf,
What, you don't want to spoil it? Or what?
rest in peace. But I wish you just told people the real reason.
Just
I
tell people
really-
what happened there.
It probably is something as simple as like someone said it
Right.
to him once.
Yeah.
And he
Could
just
be.
stuck with it.
Nicknames come from the strangest places sometimes.
Yeah, I went by chicken pie because I ate a chicken pie once.
Just the
I'm like,
one
I'll take chicken
time.
pie,
Yeah, exactly. So back to the movie. We have the
Stage
first
Fright from 2014.
It's 2014. We have the first meeting of the cast. They're putting they're putting the opera ghost into a kabuki mask. So they unveil this new design for it. Like, wow, ooh, it's so cool. The director. We start a
director.
terrible slippy slope here because he's the worst. Director takes Camilla into a dressing room, presents some martinis. He literally has a mini stage built with a curtain, pulls the curtains back, and there's 2 martinis. Who knows how long they've been sitting there?
Probably a couple weeks.
He didn't know he could get her back there.
No,
he didn't.
exactly.
No. This man is a scumbag. We should probably just
Through
gloss
and
over
through. He's a
how much of a
scumbag. Yes,
he is.
no. But he immediately tries to kiss her, right? And she politely tries to decline it. But all she wants to know is which of the 2 actresses gets to perform on opening night for the Broadway producers, right? That's a pretty important thing, right? And he kind of doesn't really give her a big answer, but it's pretty obvious to like whoever, does him the most favors, if you will,
gonna throw up.
Very
it's
Weinstein,
disgusting.
yeah.
We'll get to be the big role, right? So rehearsals begin. We've got like 23 days until the show, and the director's just using this show as an excuse to kiss whoever he wants. He keeps making out with Liz, the other girl, and she keeps getting all of the rehearsals instead of Camilla. So unfortunately, Camilla does let the director get a little handsy with her, and then she starts to get to rehearse a bit more. And I hate that works for the shitty director guy. I don't want this to work because he's terrible. He's a scumbag. We're sending a horrible message here.
In the
There's a
context
point-
of the movie, we're all saying they're like, he's dead.
Yes.
There's no thought in any of our minds that he
no.
is not dying in this
That's the
horror
thing,
movie.
I'm
No,
like,
yeah, absolutely. He had to die.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason that I could stay on board with this, I'm like, this means he has to die.
Yeah, it's gotta be
We're
horrific.
creating this character we want to see murdered. And that's exactly what happens. There's a part where Camilla tries to tell him off once, and guess what? Liz starts rehearsing again. So it very quickly goes through like this like montage of them rehearsing and stuff. It's mostly just about the director and the 2 leading ladies. But it goes from like 23 days to 1 day. There's no costumes.
No, dude.
No,
No
props.
props.
No paint on the set. Not
sets.
even lights.
No.
1 day.
There's
until-
still a box that says swords just sitting in the middle of the
Chilling
set.
on
And
the
he is
corner.
trying to invite a professional Broadway producer to see the show.
They're not ready for this. Like, this is like one of the things where I was like, wow, I'm definitely a theater person because I can point that and be like, that is not right.
That is not how that
There's
works.
no way you guys are putting on a
Not at
show
all.
tomorrow, right? So there's a moment where, in an effort to get the big lead role that she so desperately wants, Camilla agrees to sleep with Artie, the director. Big thumbs down. As they get busy, the killer peeks into the room but then walks away. She sees that. She's like, I'd rather go to my bunk, and leaves. So now Artie, the
Just
shitty
a little
director-
piece of annoyance. We've seen them open the door that he has to open in order to peek on them,
Yep.
and it makes a very loud ratcheting sound when they open it
Yeah.
every other time.
Absolutely.
The Foley artist really went ham on it. And then the one time that the killer opens the
one
door.
door that
The
they were-
silent killer.
I mean, everybody knows that killers have special powers.
Yes.
Literally all the
Sure.
time.
They
It doesn't matter
abide
what
by
you
their
watch.
own rule set, you know?
They can teleport. They can,
So
yeah.
So now this movie gets rolling because Artie is now left alone in the theater. He's the shitty director we've been talking about. He goes on to, he thinks he hears something. He walks out into the empty stage and a light turns on. This like one spotlight turns on him. And then random stage lights just start falling down from the rafters onto him, right?
Really great glass shattering effect.
Yes, actually,
so good.
pretty good.
Fantastic.
So he's dodging them for a minute, and then one falls and impales right into his foot, like the hook that keeps it secured up on top. That thing straight impales him on
Get
his
to the
foot.
foot, man.
Pretty good.
And it actually wasn't that terrible. Like,
Break a leg.
the effects were pretty good here. And this kabuki masked killer cuts. It's really cool, actually. There's like this screen that he's sitting behind. A light is behind him, so he's backlit. And he puts up these big saw blades that he uses as these weapons, and then cuts through the screen and makes an entrance. Honestly, kind of a kick-ass way for this killer to join us in this movie.
Absolutely. He kind of looks a little bit like Jigsaw from Saw.
It's giving Jigsaw. I think it's like the wig, the white face, something about it.
And the mask that they have added a bunch of cuts and scrapes to the bottom half of.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if that's supposed to, like, they're in production, like, this looks too much like Jigsaw. Like, we gotta mess this up.
Just trying to edit it a bit.
And they
'Cause
made
even
it
the way
like
that
kind of
the
a
jaw
smushed nose,
moves,
but it looks like they melted it in order to make the nose smushed on the mat.
yeah.
So I'm really thinking they're like, oh, we gotta differentiate a bit here.
Just a little bit here, right? So he's pretty fun because he walks up to Artie, who is now impaled on his foot, cannot move. He says, break a leg, kicks him backwards, and it causes his foot to snap off of where it was impaled on the floor here in this big bloody mess. And it's pretty fun. They
couldn't do the extra work to make it his leg.
couldn't be the
His
whole
foot
leg.
breaks.
It just had to be the foot.
Just like
It was
a little
probably
more
exceedingly
time in the old noodle, they could have figured out a way that his leg would break.
Yeah.
Yes. But so Derek mentioned the box of swords. There is a moment where like they're trying to fight each other. He goes to the box of swords. And nothing really comes of it. They don't have like this big cool sword fight, really. They just like the kabuki mask killer gets the better of him, then takes him to the ghost light in the middle of the stage, which if you don't know much about theater and ghost lights, there's just like one lone lamp that sits in the middle of the stage, right?
Naked bulb. It's very harsh on your eyes.
Yeah. I guess you're right. And then he takes his face onto the light bulb. It just like puts his mouth over it, really. And then he turns it on and it fries him with electricity.
Yeah, the visceral part of your soul is like that bulb is going to shatter inside of his mouth.
That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah. I thought
That will be the
shards were going
painful
through his
part.
neck or something.
Yeah.
No,
No,
they just want us
burns
to
him.
believe, and Science Gym will probably illuminate us.
He probably won't.
It's a light bulb. That electricity flows right through a light bulb, so as his mouth is making contact with the light bulb, the man is electrocuted from
the light bulb. I mean, it's one of these things that's a ridiculous movie. We just have to trust, and I don't know. I don't care if it's unrealistic or not. It was a pretty fun effect.
It
right?
was fun,
And then
yeah.
and then the killer just kind of like smashes his head on both sides really quick, and then it kills him. He's dead now. So now the next day, the camp is in a bit of a panic after hearing Artie has been murdered. Meatloaf still struggling to pay for the money to keep this camp open, but then the big Broadway producer Victor Brady calls him to say he'll be there. So now the show must go on. Murder be damned. We've got to put on the show, right? Camilla comes in and she's like, I can't do this show. I just really cannot be
There's
the one to
been
do
a
this.
human person murdered.
Yes, because a murder happened, right? I honestly completely fair for her to say this, right? He convinces her that she needs to do it anyway. He's like, Artie wanted it to be you the whole time. Your mother would be so proud. He just really needs her to be the one to put on the show, right?
And he has prevented these minors from calling their parents and saying, a murder has
All
happened.
of the children are trying to break into this building to get to the one phone in the camp to call their parents to
Yeah.
go home.
And he will not let them. Hey, guys, can I come in real quick?
Yeah, come on in. Come on back.
I did a little quick.
Dear listener, a puppet has arrived in the studio a second time. There are two puppets. There's the same puppets,
Okay, I was like, wait, 2 seconds.
but it's come twice.
I have come twice. Thank you. Ooh. And anyway, so yeah, I did a little bit of a research and on lightbulbexpert.com. So like
That's a real thing.
the best website you could possibly go to
Cannot
for this
believe
sort of
that's a real
information. It's wonderful. In November 24th of 2019, so 5 years after this movie came out, and I'm sure that this
It must have been the result.
this article was because of
5
this movie.
years of arduous research just because of this movie.
Now, it is entirely possible while touching a light bulb to get electrocuted, okay?
Whoa.
But here's the thing.
Unlikely?
It probably won't be the bulb.
Oh.
The connector between the bulb and the light
Yes.
reciprocal could definitely electrocute you. If your mouth is around it, though, now this is just Science Gym speaking based on what I just read. If that bulb does get pretty hot, but it was turned on while his mouth was around it, right?
Right.
So in theory, that would not actually be hot at all. He would have been completely fine.
Right.
But the only way that what happened here could have been possible is if his mouth was touching the connecting point between the light bulb and the circuit that was creating the light bulb, completing the circuit, which
Not
would
impossible.
in fact
If we'd
a bit of
heard
Dr.
the
Fish.
glass shatter of the bulb, I believe filament is now touching mouth.
Now that
That
would
would've
have
worked.
killed
That
him.
would've worked,
That would have been
yes.
very bad because that point he's just going straight into
I
the
was
electrical
surprised that the light bulb did not shatter within
socket. Oh,
his
me
mouth.
too. But it's probably because they were using a real light bulb because it's
They just
actually
have to
not
make
that
the
dangerous.
sound, right?
Honestly, he
If
probably
you just
just
make a
did it
crunching
himself.
noise, I'll believe you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's it.
Anyway,
Do
thank
your
you.
own Foley work.
I'll go now.
So now Meatloaf.
I'm sorry. So they have now let this killer go, right?
Yes.
They know that it was there's no chance it was an accident. They found the body. There's no one thinking that this was not a violent homicide.
They don't care because the show must go
The show
on.
must go on, and we sing a song about it.
Yeah, Meatloaf tries to rally the rest of the camp members to keep the show going too. And what the funniest part, they showed this in the trailer too, and we busted up then too. This little girl, the crowd parts, and it's just her, center of the screen. She goes, "Isn't it wrong to sing and dance when someone just died?" And this little girl stole the whole movie.
She
Yeah.
did. Best
Hilarious.
best
Where
kid
is she
acting I've
now?
ever seen.
Incredible work here. They found her at like a dance audition too. I was reading in the trivia. Like she was not
Yes.
there for this role. They were just like, this girl would be perfect for this. And you know what? She was.
And that probably explains part of the reason there were like 2 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And everyone else was like 16.
That actually makes sense. But so this rousing speech from Meatloaf here turns into song, which seems to work. It starts to rally.
Yeah.
Nothing gets people pumped up just quite like a song, especially in musicals.
You know, I would get pumped up if Meatloaf started singing to me.
Would
I mean, he's dead
Because he'd
now.
be coming
Yeah.
from the dead.
Because I would be certainly pumped up, as in terrified. Zombie Meatloaf is coming back.
My heart rate would be
And
high.
who's that running in the distance? It's Zombie Meatloaf Monster Minnie Driver. She gets a new title every
Zombie
time I bring her
Meatloaf
back.
Monster Mini Driver.
So things take a fun turn here because I was not expecting this from our killer. This kabuki killer now starts singing a rock song underneath their pump up happy song about how much he hates musicals and hates theater and kids, and
so
he's
good.
kind of a
Like a
pretty
hair metal,
impressive-
Axl Rose, amazing
pretty
80s metal
impressive
voice.
vocalist. Like I was really not surprised.
pretty impressed.
I was incredibly surprised by it, and it starts to layer over their happy song of doing musicals and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty funny. I really enjoyed it. So now we're getting we hadn't seen a lot of this killer in action, but they're actually kind of like an energetic, fun, crazy person, you know? So now it's opening night. Let's get everything ready. They finally got all the costumes and the makeups and the set and a band. All of this came together really, really fast, which, as a theater person, incredibly unrealistic.
Also, the
I'm like,
band
oh,
downstage, off the stage, in the audience, but onto one side of the audience, not in a pit. Anyway, no sound dampening, which is to say they're playing horns.
Straight
if you
in
just
people's
happen
faces.
to be on house rights, you will not hear the
Dude,
show.
you will not hear anything for
Yeah.
the next week.
And all of the potential killers are present. We haven't really touched on this. The movie's done a pretty good job of balancing, showing you 3 different characters that they're trying to give you all of them these red herrings, right? We're like, could it be this person? Could it be this person? One of them is Joel, who's the person that let Camilla into the audition in the first place. He runs tech. That's kind of his thing. Buddy, her brother, because you're like, okay, he hates theater kids. He, this show has killed his mother, right? He must have some personal vendetta against this. And there's a janitor who doesn't actually do anything. He just looks.
Looks scary.
He just looks like a creepy guy. He looks like Filch from the Harry Potter movies.
Yep.
That's definitely the look they're going for. He never does anything, never says anything. They just keep having shots of him that make you think, well, maybe it's him. He could be the guy.
They do the classic, oh, someone's watching her through the bushes. Cut to him. Oh, he's watching.
Damn, I see. But he's the one that has the least motive of any of them, right? Because there is a moment, Joel actually does sing in some of the songs about how he seems to have a crush on Camilla. There's something about how he doesn't like the way the show's going. He's got his own motives, right? But so all of the potential killers are here. The janitor, Joel, Buddy, the brother are all at this show right now. And the show begins, and it's feeling very culturally appropriating. I don't know why it only at that moment struck me that this could be a problem. Doing a show set in feudal Japan with absolutely no people of Japanese descent. What are we doing here? But so as Camilla sings on stage, somebody starts their dark preparations backstage involving a big bucket of red blood. They're like, okay, so we're gonna carry this situation. No, actually, it's not the killer. It's that jealous understudy Liz from earlier. So she's like, I'll show you. I'll pour a bunch of red blood all over you. Derek has just discovered something incredible. What's up?
Well, keep talking. Okay. I need to verify it. It's one of those things that's so crazy. I have to find out if it's real.
Derek,
So
just
keep going.
Dear
Derek's just
listeners, Derek is taking the stairs back to the surface, which I will remind you will take him hours.
hours. We will never
He
see
will
him again.
not be back before this podcast is over.
We'll find out what Derek's very interesting thing was in just a second. So backstage, we see the killer has already murdered the costume designer by hammering a bunch of nails into her head, a la Pinhead.
I didn't get it. is there a theater thing that I don't know about?
I don't think so. The only thing is that there is one shot in the montage of them setting up this show where the costume designer takes a mannequin head and puts a bunch of pins in it, like it is like Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies. That is the only thing that I could see, because someone goes backstage, they see her just like slumped over in the closet with just a bunch of nails all over her face.
All the other kills had a really good theatery line.
Yes,
that one I was searching.
I don't understand. I don't. Yeah, because that's the thing. You're right. That one was very like theater. No, all the rest of them were theater pun-y. This one was not. So I'm like, it was a pretty brutal kill. It looks pretty good. I like the effects for it. It's just like, what is the point?
Also,
of this one?
no one checked that she was in fact dead.
Oh yeah,
that was one of those. They look across the room. Oh, nails in the face.
Oh, she's dead.
Certainly
for sure.
dead.
So then, our killer then murders the real person playing the Ghost of the Opera, because there is an actual actor cast as that character, right? So like, get him out of the way so you can probably step in, right? Real Phantom of the Opera stuff here. So then someone in the ghost costume walks on stage, walking limply and awkwardly, which we assume to be Liz, who was captured up in the rafters before she could do her little carry stunt onto Camilla down there. So it seems like she's been like tied and bound and put in the costume, and she's just walking around stage looking incredibly awkward. The show has come to a screeching halt at this point. And this is something that, like, this keeps going as the rest of the movie takes place. They are just trying their best.
Isaac was really caught up on the idea of like, this is the most boring show possible. Everyone would leave.
Really
they would shut it down.
No, it's terrible. Like, what is happening? Meanwhile, the murderer is just having some fun backstage, killing another one of the camp members by putting her head under some hot shower water. Very, very hot, I guess. Enough to give her like boils and blisters on her skin.
Yeah.
Which it happened pretty fast. There's no way he could
He
get
says,
that.
I'm going to help you warm up.
Yeah, exactly. She was warming up back there with using the steam and stuff. And then slicing her with one of his saws. Now, mind you, what did these saws look like? Because
they were canned.
This was
can
a dead
lids.
giveaway for us very early on. I think they looked like the lids of large cans.
Number 10 cans, dog.
Cut away into the shape of a saw, right? Of like an actual saw blade, right?
Absolutely.
And that will come back later, right? So this killer is just kind of having his way backstage with all these just like poor unsuspecting camp members, right? He then grabs Meatloaf too, taunting him as he beats him backstage and sings over it. Again, this like credible like rock opera kind of stuff was pretty fun. I did really enjoy it. And I said, I'm glad he's having fun. He even like goes like to the side of the screen, pulls out this guitar and just starts doing the sick guitar riff over it in leather gloves attached to nothing. Like,
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Using a big old kitchen knife as his capo. It was neat.
that was why he takes a big old butcher knife, puts it under the strings of the guitar as if it was a capo.
I don't think that that's
Crazy.
going to work.
I'm not sure.
No
it'll
way.
work.
At all.
there's no
and I
way.
would like to try it, so I think I will. The thing I got excited about,
Yes.
and then subsequently said, I need to double check that.
Derek has come back from going up the stairs, so he's much faster than I'd anticipated.
I am
He's quick.
very fast. Sonic was my grandma. So, Rick Miller. He is a
Yes.
Canadian director and singer and podcast host and blah, 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 blah. He is the voice of the heavy metal screamer.
Yes,
From
because it was
the movie.
It was not the actor that plays the killer, who we will tell you in a second.
So I Googled Stage Fright 2014 scream singer or whatever, metal singer. And when I did that, the Rob Halford popped up.
Okay.
And I went, lead singer of Judas Priest. What are you doing here? And so I went on this like 5-minute journey of like seeing if this man sang the music for this movie. He didn't.
Okay.
But this is a lesson, children. Children, this is a lesson on why you don't trust your first Google search
Yes.
results. You always dig. You always make
Do
sure.
your research for sure.
Because absolutely, I was about to say, did you know that Rob Halford, Judas
Halford did
Priest's
this.
lead singer, was the? But no, it was the guy named Rick Miller who has not done much.
But
Gotta
close.
dig. Just
Almost
like
the
they
same,
dug
right?
this pit in which the podcast studio looked.
Just like in Stage
Fright
Fright
2014.
So right before this masked killer can kill Meatloaf here, Camilla runs in. She's found the killer, stops him before he can kill Meatloaf, but just by yelling "stop" at him, which is kind of
Always works.
That's just funny to me.
They put her in the most unmovable outfit
Yes.
imaginable.
Sincerely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And who's that under the mask? None
Oh,
other
no.
than the brother.
What, buddy?
Buddy
We didn't
is
see
the
it coming.
killer. And so he
was so obvious.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious, especially like what we mentioned, the cans, like the lids of the
can
cans being
lids.
saw blades, because like he works in the kitchen. We've seen these cans before. That was probably the biggest giveaway of all of it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I was kind of on board. There was a moment there where I'm like, I don't know, man. This movie might try to pull a fast one on us. It didn't. It really did give us
It
probably
really
the most
did.
obvious option. I still enjoyed it, right? And he does have
yeah, it was a
motives,
good
right?
reveal.
If they'd given every other red herring a real reason.
Yes.
Yes.
I might have bought it.
Or
Yeah.
really given us other red herrings. I mean, it kind of alluded to them.
Yes.
But nothing was really super believable. It's like, okay, this guy loves her, but that's not going to be a reason.
Yeah, if you'd
to kill
shown him
him.
be possessive, and if you'd given any story to the groundskeeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
This guy is a janitor.
He is there. And there's
The
the,
most
one
killery
scene
job
where he
available.
stands in the doorway and someone yells at him. And that's literally
That's it. Like, that's his motive. One time a kid yelled at me.
yelled at me.
That's why I killed so many people yesterday.
It would take so much, yeah.
That's why I retroactively killed these people.
So Buddy begins to strangle Meatloaf because he's tied and bound to a chair right now. And Camilla almost stabs him. She's like, brother, you're being crazy right now. But then he stops her by telling her that Meatloaf was the one that killed their mother. Not some random murderer that got away, I guess, because he was upset that mother was cheating on him. And Buddy saw the whole thing as a kid because he was in the closet of her dressing room and he watched it all unfold in front of him. So he's just been holding on to this secret this entire time. And Meatloaf is trying to be like, no, you're crazy. He manages to get out of his arm bindings out of the chair and they start to fight each other. And so it's a fine fight. There's nothing really special about it.
Yeah.
But in
Meatloaf's
this
an
fight,
elderly gentleman.
yeah. Buddy reels back to get a swing on Meatloaf, accidentally hits his sister. This distracts him for long enough to leave Meatloaf the opportunity to grab that big butcher's knife, stab him once in the back, he falls on the floor. Then he just stabs him like 50 times.
And I was saying, at this
like
point, he
40
could call the
times.
police and be like, police, thank goodness you're here.
Yes.
This guy came at me in self-defense. I stabbed him. But then they're going to follow up with, we notice that there's 40 more stabs in his chest.
It's us here. We're the police officers, and we just noticed you got this too. You stabbed him a total of 47 times, and this was in self-defense.
As
Yeah,
Meatloaf.
so he kept falling forward. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Like every time he would fall down, he'd just fall forward again.
Yeah, exactly. Just
He
like
fell
Chicago.
into my
He-
knife
he
47
ran
times.
into my knife 47.
Yeah, so I'm a really big fan of the movie Chicago. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah,
No.
so he ran into my knife 10 times.
You just had to get a hand on the. So now Camilla's running through the woods for some reason. She's like, "This is the safest place for me to go is run through the dense forest instead of like to the
The
incredibly
densely populated.
room."
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. So, but Meatloaf gives chase through here. As all of this is happening, the show is still awkwardly trying to go on. At this point, the stage manager gets on stage. He like unmasks Liz because at this point she was still like dressed as the ghost, right? He unmasks
Yeah.
she's like
The
"You're
one
the
person that the
understudy."
killer captured did not kill.
No.
Just like beat her up.
Beat her up and like just put duct tape on her mouth, tied her hands, and so she's the understudy. She starts to sing the song. Then for some reason, the stage manager also tries to sing the song. It's kind of a ridiculous mess. I don't understand why the Broadway producer is still here at all.
I don't
This show
understand
is
why
not going well.
anyone is still there.
No. So we see Joel, the tech guy who's kind of in love with Camilla. He hears her screaming and he goes to help. So we're like, okay, Joel's on the way. Hopefully he'll save the day. Meatloaf captures Camilla in it looks like a barn. It's just like a nearby building and like he's being kind of creepy. She tries to kill him with a power tool. It's like the saw blade she pushes up to his chest. Click. It's not plugged in. But that is quickly rectified because Joel does show up there to save the day. He plugs it in and then just makes a bloody mess of Meatloaf.
blood
Like,
everywhere.
wow.
Yeah. Of the 400,000 budget, that was 200,000.
Absolutely,
Oh,
just in this scene.
absolutely.
Because, like, it's funny, she has to hold down the trigger for the saw blade to go, but then as soon as she starts
That's
it just
true.
gets stuck in him and just, like, autopilot keeps destroying his
Because every saw
intestines.
has that built-in function where
yeah.
this is human flesh. I
Exactly.
must keep sawing.
That is actually, they specifically designed him that way, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the
Because
thing.
you almost stop halfway, they won't die. It'll be awful.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you're
no.
living a terrible life. Might as well
Yeah.
keep
Just
going
go.
so they can
Just
die.
They actually use the saw blade from that movie, Attack of the Killer Saw Blades, where it's like the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
Typically, they have a function where, it touches human flesh, like, oh, we stop. These ones are the
ones
opposite.
keep
They
going.
had a rare defect,
Yeah.
where it's hungry for human flesh, kind of like how Minnie Driver's really hungry for meatloaf.
Yeah, Minnie Driver was actually in that movie. Do you remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
She played the voice of the saw blade because they talk. They're talking saw blades.
And they just go.
That's it. Yeah, Minnie Driver has like a voice acting credit on it, but she doesn't say any words.
Derek's British accent is amazing.
I can't try to do an English accent whirring saw blade.
Oh, this is me, Minnie Driver.
It's me, Minnie Driver.
Oh, this is pretty good, right? It's Minnie Driver.
Meatloaf is dead. He is so dead. He's never been more. Well, okay. Rest in peace, Meatloaf. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Just like
sorry,
a
Meatloaf.
bat out of hell.
Too relevant.
Too relevant. Meatloaf dies, right? So turns out this scene was actually not in some.
Oh, forgot to
barn.
mention Meatloaf getting beat up. A bunch of yellow bile on
yeah,
his
I don't know
chin.
why that happened.
They never show him throw up. They don't show
Do you
him.
think he actually threw up? Like in real life?
Maybe,
And they're like,
maybe
don't stop
so
rolling, this is gold.
Just keep going, keep it going, keep it going.
So it turns out all of these events were taking place literally directly behind the main stage. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
they went in the stage door.
this girl has been screaming. There were power tools. Meatloaf died in a big bloody mess. How did none of them hear that? But so Camilla stumbles on stage covered in blood, and the audience begins to just slow clap because they think it's the end of the show, and then they slow clap into a frenzy. They loved it. Why? Why did they love
Producer's
it?
on his feet, clapping his hands.
I can't
He's having
believe
the
it.
best time of his life.
We're supposed to believe it's one of those like, oh, it was so highbrow, I didn't even get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it, of course. So yeah, fast forward, it looks like The Haunting of the Opera has made its way to Broadway. No idea how that happened, but Camilla is the star. She made it.
She
you know?
agreed to be in this show?
I don't understand. It
Again.
killed her
Why would
mother.
she do that?
Murders happened and Meatloaf died. Like, it's pretty terrible, but she agreed
Her
to do
mother,
it.
all of her friends. Why?
But tell me about her bangs. How's her? What's that
They're
situation?
clipped up now, dude. She is finally showing her
Forehead
because
naked.
she
It's
has
just like-
found herself.
It almost feels like it's like pointing to that, right? Because like it really,
100%.
they really made an effort to cover them the whole movie, and then at the very end, swept to the side. She's got a new do.
They had a production meeting, and he's like, it's a metaphor. And they're like, for what? And he's
You
like,
have to do
just
it.
put on the feather.
If I have to explain it to you, then you wouldn't get it, obviously.
You'll slow clap
That's
afterwards.
me
though.
watching Trap. That's me every
right.
time I watch Trap. I'm like, wow, this is just a great movie. You wouldn't get it.
Absolutely, you're right. So then the strangest thing happens in her dressing room. Like, things are a little ominous. One of like her lights around her mirror go out. She like twists it to like turns out the light.
She's not
twists it to
electrocuted
get it
when she
back.
touches it.
Oh yeah, she's fine.
So then she flips.
Wait, hold on.
Maybe that's why she turned it off.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you're right.
She flips it off to twist the light bulb back in.
I guarantee that she was just going to turn it when it was on, but someone was like, "Wait, continuity."
Yes.
we established that light bulbs kill
Yeah,
people.
we have decided new light bulb
Me, the
physics.
script
You better.
supervisor. We got to make sure you're doing this right. But so this weirdest thing happens. She flicks the light back on, and then for some reason, the ghost of the opera slams through her mirror and starts to attack her. But then immediately is done away with like, oh, that was just a crazy vision. Okay.
Yep, it was point.
Why did that happen then? I would have rather just ended there rather than completely like washing it away. And that's it. That's the end of the movie. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I think I would have. Okay, my pitch for that ending instead of breaking through the mirror, which only jump scare in the movie.
Oh,
Truly.
Kind of
got me.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for all the camp,
Very-
there wasn't jump scares. Good
Very
for them.
unexpected, especially since the killer
I would
was
have had
dead.
her like turn on the light. He's standing right behind her. Credits roll immediately before he attacks.
There we see.
That's
That's
what I
the thing.
expected.
I wanted
Yeah.
the credit
Because of the
rolls
way the
before
camera
we
was
washed
moving.
it away. Like that would have been much better. Exactly. Even if it's just her being haunted by memories. That
clean.
would have been a
It's
lot better.
cheaper. It's
Yes,
just easier.
That's true. Rather than getting a whole piece of mirror
Yeah.
that you can shatter.
And back to my expectation of clever use of scenery so that you don't have to move the crew a lot.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
clearly in the same room that Minnie Driver was murdered in.
Oh, absolutely. Which is, I'm pretty sure, the same room as her dressing room, just with a different wall.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
looked. It was the same layout. Like even if you looked off to the side where it was, that's where like the door was that he had those martini glasses. Like it was the exact same layout.
Totally.
It was the same length. Real quick before we get into our expectation results.
Yeah.
Here's my best Minnie Driver impression. Okay?
Oh.
Okay, it's gonna be English and it's gonna be Minnie.
He was doing this on his walk up and down the stairs.
Yeah. I would do anything for loaf. Yes, I would do any. Get it? Because I would do everything for love.
That's
It's a
good.
Meatloaf
That's
song.
good.
And
Is it
she's- it is a
Meatloaf wrote that song?
Yeah.
And I would do it. That's Meatloaf.
That is a Meatloaf song.
What?
We're not
I
yanking your
didn't
chain.
even
That's
know
real.
that.
So
Didn't
Spencer,
even know that.
That's actually why that joke was funny.
Yeah.
Was because
I love when you explain it to me. It makes me feel better about myself. It makes me feel better about you.
Everyone feels better about me.
Well, as long as we all understand that Minnie Driver loves meatloaf.
She's a meatloaf monster. Shall we discuss our
Yeah,
expectations?
let's go in a
results for
circle
this?
here. Let's go in a circle here. So Spencer, your first expectation.
All right, the unrehearsed group numbers. No, they were solid.
They were
Yeah.
actually
These kids were rehearsed. They knew what they were doing.
Unsynced.
The camera, the cinematography had not been told the cool arabesques and things that kids would be doing.
Yeah.
Did you see them zoom right past when kids were like doing an aerial?
I know. It's like
And then it's like, we don't need to see
you
that.
gotta catch the cool shit that these theater kids are doing.
No, disappointing. But no, they were rehearsed.
Yeah. My first one was detrimental for theater kids, and there were definitely many scenes that made me ashamed to be a theater person.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But also just a lot of like unrealistic, like not actually how they are kind of things, just like stereotypes of theater kids, right?
I mean, that's mine too. A weak attempt at theater, they won't get it right. Like, come on, some of this was just ridiculous. Like having no costumes on day one. Like, what are you even doing?
He said it in a way that made it sound sarcastic. This is ridiculous. But we're agreeing with you. I don't know what to...
No, you're right.
No, really though, it was just ridiculous. I couldn't believe it.
Absolutely silly. Tired gay stereotypes. They definitely had a character, the punchline being, I am a homosexual man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No.
But
not
I'll be
really.
honest, they didn't lean into stereotype on him.
No.
They didn't like have a bit about like him doing the sibilant L or anything. Like he was really just existing, and then other people commented on him. So like
Yeah.
that one's borderline. I don't even know. That's
It
like the
was tough.
2014
Mhm.
tone deaf version, whereas the 2004 tone deaf version we can't even talk about on this podcast. So
Oh, I said there would be some theater themed kills, and the kills were mostly centered around some kind of puns and such, but like some theatery puns, and I did enjoy that much. There was like that one with the nails in the head where he even says like you nailed it or something before he kills somebody. I was like, yeah, that one didn't really feel theatery enough for me. But there were some theater themed kills that I enjoyed.
I really felt like that one, the pins in the mannequin head were the only thing that was tying that.
yeah, if there had been a bit about, oh, we're having to adjust your costumes a lot, we're doing a lot of
Yes.
pinning, that could have come.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It was a missed opportunity. Hilarious, even though not supposed to be. I did find myself laughing a lot. I felt like a lot of them were intentional. I think so. But at the same time, there was a lot of not intentional laughing. Mainly everything Meatloaf did.
Yeah.
I don't think was supposed to be funny.
No.
But watching that man open letters was the funniest
Watching
thing.
him open letters, watching him try to sing a rallying speech.
All right, you're right.
Of all the things, the 24-year-old, 10-year-olds, it turns out there was just this massive age range in the camp.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Because when you're watching the trailer, you're like, these are clearly 24-year-old, 10-year-olds.
exactly.
But now in universe, it's like, okay, they're 18-year-old, 10-year-olds. And like, okay, whatever. Yeah,
we
sure.
can take that. We can take
I'll
that.
take it.
I said there would be deaths happening during the performance, and not quite in the way I was expecting. There were deaths happening off stage, behind the scenes that were going on, but none actually in front of an audience until the very
opportunity.
end when Camilla had walked in covered in blood. That was the best we got of that.
Yeah. Shockingly good music. At times, yes. But the background music was like very sitcom Hallmark music.
Stop everything we're talking about it. Because every time they do a musical number,
Yeah.
it fit the tone.
Yep.
It fit the song.
It
was
works.
very well composed. And even the background music that did not fit scenes was well composed, but it was like frumpy,
Yeah,
kind of
really,
stuff that
Like canned
like,
music kind of.
what is the thing that the Looney Tunes would play while someone's plotting?
Yes.
That's how we'll communicate to the audience. Just like lazy, but I know they're good at this because
Yeah,
we've seen
exactly.
evidence of it.
where it's like, you've done well. Why are you doing poorly now? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Yeah.
They're
Someone's
pointing at me.
next.
Viewers at home, listeners at home, they're pointing at me. I think it's because I have to get to my next expectation, which is conspicuous limiting of location. I was surprised. They had a lot more than I expected. I really thought because it was camp, they were going to do one building, different angles around the building.
Of course,
because that's
right.
what I would do.
Yes.
They did have multiple locations, but maybe to Derek's point from earlier, it was they just literally rented a camp.
Yeah.
I think
And they
did.
had
feel
the
like they
locations
totally have.
available, so they only had to move the crew. They didn't have to pack up the crew
Yeah.
and unpack, because that's the expensive part, is all the time unpacking and repacking.
Right, exactly. I mean, you can just you can stay and sleep in the cabins, right? Like that makes it pretty easy, pretty cost effective. I would assume that way. I said it was going to be more brutal than I was expecting, and honestly, from that first kill, I was pretty shocked how hard they were willing to go on some of them. There's just like that stabbing through the neck over and over again, right straight through the mouth, light bulb on the head, that whole thing, scissors through a body at one point. We didn't talk about that kill. Like it was a lot. So but there was also a lot of time between kills. Like there were some pretty crazy kills, but at the end, I think our body count was only like 7. I think because there weren't that many actual murders in the movie.
Yeah. And Meatloaf will be so stale. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kinda-
not
Derek
an
had some
actor,
thoughts.
He's kind of disappointing.
which is kind of funny because apparently he was in many things.
yeah.
He's great.
I really
like,
only
as
knew
a
him
person.
from the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
which was
the
actually
biggest
like
thing.
one of the things that kickstarted his career.
Yeah, which
That was before
Yeah.
he was a musician.
I guess that tracks
Because
That
he
makes
didn't have to act in that one. He showed up, he sang his song, he left. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
He just was a rock star in that one. And if you're a
Perfect.
rock star playing a rock star, pretty easy.
Big
And then he got
Underground.
eaten by Minnie Driver in 2022.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You sure did. The Phantom of the Opera motivation dump, they did actually have, but they'd done enough to plant it that it was more just the final victory lap of an explanation instead
Right.
of Phantom of the Opera, let me tell you my whole life story.
Right, rather than this big old exposition dump, which
Better.
we usually get in these kinds of things.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Which I-
do.
which I like.
Expedition dumps are really big, and we didn't really get that at all.
No, like you said,
Yeah,
it was a much better. It wasn't all of it all dumped on you
Yeah.
at once. It was a pretty simple, very small kind of thing. And then my last one is just kid actors.
Yeah,
here.
man.
I mean the kids exactly. The kids were
oh, my
not
hands are
really-
free. Holy crap.
Oh, wow,
I was able to
look at
clap.
that.
He can clap. He broke out of the chains. I don't know how he did that one.
neither.
The kids were not really that prominent in the story, but they were fairly enjoyable. That one girl who delivered that line about singing and dancing when someone died was pretty funny. And there was this one kid who had a lisp. And like she didn't even do that much. She was just adorable.
She just had like one line of song that was really funny, and that was it.
The best part about it was we watched it with the subtitles. In the subtitles, they replaced all S's with TH.
It was cute. Yeah,
It was very, very cute. And your kid actor's expectation?
I mean, it's the exact same as you. It
Yeah.
was just great. Like, I didn't really have any issues either way.
Yeah. Have we touched on all your expectations?
I've thoroughly touched.
thoroughly
Watch
touched.
it.
Watch it now.
Any surprises?
My surprise was the quality of the music. I really thought that you were telling me this was like B movie. They only had one name in it, apart from Meatloaf. Poor Meatloaf. He got buried, actually.
Yeah,
to think of
really
it.
did.
But the songs are very well produced. As a songwriter myself, I would have done them differently, that kind of thing. But that's not to say any of them were bad, just that I would have done them differently.
Just how you would have done
They were
them
all
versus
great.
that. No, very much so. Do you have any more? We'll usually just list all of our surprises at once.
Okay, how lighthearted it was. I really thought it was going to be
Yeah.
much more of a slasher, like, oh no, we're running away from the
dark.
monster,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
They kinda
But no, they
balanced that
kept
a
it
bit.
light. Like even the song that Meatloaf does at the end to rally the troops, we're going to put on this musical. They lighten it right back up. Very classic Golden Age of Broadway style number.
Totally.
And they really, I think, screwed the pooch on the backbone A plot. The producer's going to see these 9-year-olds perform in this completely cultural appropriated work that we're putting on that's marketing back to this dead actress. None of that would work. Why would you think to yourself this might be effective?
I don't know. That was
Especially the
ridiculous.
show that they do put on for this man. The crowd is like standing ovation. They cheer for it. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
None of this word.
I was thinking
warranted that.
by the end, I'm like, you didn't need children at all. There are camps for 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
You could say it's one of those. Those are real feeders into Juilliard and sometimes into Broadway, I'm sure. Why not? Just do that. They can still be scared kids that can't get out of there because they don't have their cars. That's fine.
Crazy. Is that your surprises there?
I'm so surprised. The line musical play. They said it like 4 times.
What was that
you
about?
did get stuck on that. 'cause,
No
I mean,
one
it
just
makes
said
sense.
musical.
No one says musical.
Everyone
play.
says musical.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It was a very strange line to throw in
It's
there.
like they were sitting in production and some executive producer was like, what's a musical?
No.
A musical. It's like, no, I'm sorry, a musical play.
Yeah,
And then force
exactly.
them to change it.
It kind
Absolutely.
of it leads you to assume like were the people working on this actual theater people? Did they actually get it? Did they know
Probably
stuff?
not.
Yeah. For my surprises, I said the killer with their wild rock antics and crazy vocals definitely shocked me.
Dude,
So
that was
good.
fun.
He was a little out there, but did make for a fun villain out of nowhere. He just like really kind of turned this flip and got really crazy there. towards the
Ironically,
end.
the musical hating guy, best
Yes.
vocals in the show.
It's surprising, right? I thought the themed kills were a pretty fun time. I was really upset about the whole director abusing his power to like make out with the 2 leading ladies bit, but it did make me very happy to see him die. I was like, we could have had a different way to be going about this. I didn't need to hate him that much,
No, yeah.
I was surprised by it was a much higher quality than I was originally anticipating. Like again, that kind of shocked me, especially since I was expecting pretty B movie kind of budget here. Like I wasn't sure what to say, but the higher quality was a welcome sight there. And my final surprise was I did enjoy the fact that they kind of balanced this whole like who done it by giving us opportunities to suspect 3 different people as the killer, right? It was pretty obvious for a lot of different reasons, and really one person had the actual motive to do this kind of stuff. But I did like the fact that they kind of gave us reason to think it was a couple people. Like though it was a bit obvious, I did like not really knowing where they were going to go with it.
Real whodunit. Can we bounce back to me on one?
Yeah.
How were they not able to cast dynamite singers for the non-80s
Yeah.
singer? Because I know for a
That doesn't
fact
make any sense.
they exist. They want to be in things.
Right.
So I'm very confused how this show about Broadway, they didn't just go to the same studios they cast those things.
No.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a "this is my daughter" situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Like
I'm
M.
not going
Night
to
Shyamalan
claim
and
that.
Trapped.
Oh, don't even get me started. I'll get trapped. So mine, the music. I mean, it was just fun. Like I had such a good time with it. The kills were all really, really fun. Some genuinely funny lines. There's a line in one of the songs about that I actually can't say, but it was just some of the lyrics were so funny and out there that it just kind of worked for me. Specifically, there is an end song in the credits that as it runs,
man.
it begins
That's
to break the
fun,
4th
yeah.
wall
And make fun
and
of itself.
And it makes fun of itself. It sings to the audience like,
is-
"Where are
it
you
is
listening to?" Or, "You
Sung
watching
by
what?"
the rock singer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Rick Miller was that
Yeah,
his
and
name?
he does like fun covers of all of the other songs in the musical, which was really fun.
It was a really fun little medley reprise of all the songs.
Then the lack of Minnie Driver in this movie
For
was
her-
such a shock.
for her
Literally,
name to be
she was on set for
plastered.
4 hours.
Yes.
Absolute at very
At
most.
most,
I mean,
yeah.
like it was just
And
wild
yet they
to me.
got her to be unclothed, not nude, but underwear
she was
for a scene, and that's got to be expensive.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
And they didn't
that
have to. It
extra.
turns out that was not
it
instrumental
was
to her
not
death.
pertinent.
not
to
integral
anything.
to the plot at all. It was just kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the lack of actual meatloaf in this movie really shocked me.
Yeah.
Was there
I
any
ass-
actual meat?
There wasn't, because there wasn't really any food in this movie.
That's true.
There
Just
wasn't
cans
really
of
any
tomatoes.
substance in this movie. So, canned tomato. That was a good burn, wasn't it? You like that
Sick
one?
burn. South Park level burn.
All right. Let's go.
All right, one
to
thing we didn't talk about, the cinematography was very inconsistent.
Oh, very
Yeah.
much so.
It was a little bit weird. Like, it opened up like family-friendly camp film, and they did a really good job. So 'cause I assume they're just capturing the vibe.
Right.
Great. Then they kept doing that.
Yes.
Through some horror-y things. And then there were like 3 scenes that are just like A-B characters talking to each other where they're doing like a classic Western-style open
Yeah.
pan, and they've got them talking eye to eye and doing it at 45 instead of just like 180s like we're used to. And like, who did they have different on that day?
Yeah, they
some
must have, like,
some
someone
new
else
DP
hit
showed
some
up.
these
off.
ones, right?
It felt off.
A little
for sure.
weird. Yeah. How does that
That was
happen?
I
Makes
don't
me
know.
wonder.
Makes
Do
wonder.
you have a score for this movie, Spencer?
I said I'll give it 1. Pretty good. It was pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
it was. I'll say it's forgettable. But had I seen it in the theaters, I would have been like, sure, I paid my ticket price and I was entertained.
Yeah.
I ate my popcorn. I went home, so I wouldn't be mad about it. So I was surprised at the scores that you guys told me, because I would have been like, I don't know, give it a 50. Totally middle of the road. It was fine.
No, totally. For me, I'm gonna say, like, I think it checks all the boxes. I think this is a horrorable for me, or sing-alongable, to be more fun and themed with it. This one was a pretty enjoyable time. Like, the plot had some issues and kind of lost parts of itself there at the end, but it was pretty campy, out there, and fun. Like, I think that's the most thing about it. There was not a moment in this movie where I was bored of anything. Like, I was having a good time throughout it, and that's what I want when I come into these movies and watch all of these. Right? I thought the songs were fun and often laughable for a lot of reasons, especially as a theater person relating to them sometimes. And the kills were really decent, and like, I really wasn't expecting that, considering it was like a happy musical a lot of the rest of the movie, but it really brought in those horror elements of having like this mysterious masked killer lurking in the wings. So it's really got everything you could expect or want from a horror movie musical. So I think they balanced that pretty well. So this movie gets a standing ovation for its efforts here.
Nice. That was horrible for me as well. It was a fun movie. It was just, like you said, it's just all you need. It was fun.
It's fun.
It was kind of the definition of camp in every way. I mean, they were literally at a camp.
Yeah.
The kills were themed and unique. Not a lot of them, but what was there was pretty good. The story was fairly engaging for what it was. Unfortunately, in certain areas, it just did not pull together a cohesive movie to me, and it did just kind of feel like a mess. The editing was all over the place. Nothing really felt believable, but a fun soundtrack and silly moments led for a fun time. I'd recommend watching this with a bunch of theater kids who will tell you what they're doing wrong, because that will make it fun.
Did we talk about the 4 slow motion shots they did?
Oh yeah, the 4
There's
slow
a
motion
couple
shots.
that I'm like,
a
did they
couple
just have to
random
pad
slow motion.
time? They just needed an extra shot. It was
Yeah.
weird, like in
No
very
idea.
early 2000s. Anyway,
Yeah, it wasn't really
dear
a good
listener,
idea.
a second puppet has entered the bunker. I don't know where it came from.
Sound of music, huh?
With the sounds of bad
Trivia.
music.
Bat music or
Bad
bad
music.
music?
Yes. Was it no bad?
Did you notice that there is a person in the studio?
Whoa.
Yeah.
You brought Derek, that's so kind.
No, wait.
I thought you forgot our anniversary.
Trivia.
I thought you forgot.
Trivia. I sent you an email. A bat
email?
mail, and it said, "Do
Bat
not
mail?
eat the guy I bring tomorrow."
But the day is our
Oh
anniversary.
crap! That was a week ago. We
was
had
a-
rescheduled because I was sick.
It's our anniversary. You did not bring me a new blood bag. Is this not my blood bag?
No, this
Are you
is-
not my blood bag?
this is
That was my
Melina.
nickname in high school.
Is that? Then you changed it back afterwards because you were sick of explaining to people why it was blood bag
Every single.
every single time. Well, if it's not my blood bag and you forgot our anniversary, then I'm just take your trivia and leave. I'm going.
All right, I love you.
So they called me blood bag because when I was born, I was red. And when they said, put him in the NICU, my dad was just like, just put blood on the side of it.
And then later on, you got kicked, and they're
Yeah.
like, "I gotta know you, blood bag."
Later on in
Yeah.
life, you had
Later
a
on, I
coach.
was playing sports and I
injured yourself. A
bled
lot.
into a bag.
Yeah.
And they were like,
This guy's just our blood.
Look at this blood bag over here.
The trivia for this one, there wasn't a ton here, but I'll give you what we could find here. The film includes multiple slasher movie references. I don't know how direct they were, if some of these are kind of grasping at straws, but like Friday the 13th because it's a camp location, Hellraiser with the pins and the makeup head for that nailed it kill, Carrie with the bucket of blood, and then this one says Halloween for that large chef's knife. I'm like,
That is every time I see a chef's knife, I'm like,
They were in a
Halloween's-
kitchen.
yeah.
They were in a kitchen.
There was another one that I thought I was crazy about for thinking this, but I think it must be because somebody else thought this. There's one scene where there's this one like younger kid who's got this kind of crazy hair. He's working on like the sets backstage with this like saw in his hand, and he's wearing a tan-colored apron, wielding a handsaw. So like noticeably paying homage to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface.
absolutely.
There was just something about the nature of how it was shot, his craziness that reminded me
also
of that.
kind of a chunky little kid.
Yes.
It did feel a little
fit-
letter.
Yeah, exactly.
sense.
Director Jerome Sable and co-writer Eli Battalion have said that they used the same title font and the same shade of red from Assault on Precinct 13, 1976 for the title of Stage Fright to pay homage to their favorite director, John Carpenter.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of cool, right? The cast did all of their singing live,
What?
according to
That's
this.
just not true.
That just couldn't
That
be,
is
right?
physically we saw the sinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
no,
yeah.
there
There were
some-
multiple times where people were not opening their mouth.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I'm like,
best
I
you
read
could
that and I was
give
like,
me
I
is
don't
they
know about this.
recorded it on set so that they could get the ambience right.
Yeah,
and then
that's got to be what happened
overlay
there,
it.
right?
That has to be what they mean.
Minnie Driver did her own stunts. For the one scene she was in.
Hey man, that was really funny.
That was good.
Did Meatloaf do his own meat?
He did. He brought his own meat every day. Jerome Sable and Eli Battalion both began their careers in musical theater. So they are actually theater people
Cool.
putting on this thing. And this was actually Meatloaf's final appearance in a motion picture before he had passed.
That makes sense for a
Okay.
lot of reasons.
Because Minnie Driver was on set. And that's
And he
It's
was
actually
like,
the
never
last
doing
time
that
I was
again.
ever seen.
Russ, I'm sorry.
Lathered
Meatloaf,
in-
you're a real person who
She-
died, and I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to mock that.
Do you think when Minnie Driver walked up to him on set, she just like had a bottle of ketchup? She like just pulls it up. You know?
You looked at it longingly, like she like walked up in front of Meatloaf and just like, ah.
Dear listener, he brought a bottle of ketchup. I assume he brought it down after that break where he flew up the many thousands
Oh,
of
no,
feet
he's
of
had it the
stairs.
whole time.
Okay,
I
that
always keep
ketchup
a
was just
bottle
here.
of ketchup on me because I've said it weird my whole life and people have always bullied me for it.
The
I've always
ketchup
said
weird?
ketchup.
Ketchup. Instead
Ketchup.
of
80.
ketchup.
Okay.
But notice how I said ketchup this time because I knew Spencer was going to bully me relentless for it. And so I
Get him,
That's
Spencer.
true. I'm
bully
literally
him for it.
tied to a chair at your mercy, but
No, I am.
yes, I'm the bully here.
Thank you for joining us, letting us tie you to
Thank
the
you
show.
so
It's
much
funny.
for
It's
having
been
me.
weird.
So fun.
I love that I know the code to your bunker. I love that you guys
crap.
let me
Oh, we change that
on.
every time.
Yeah, we change it every time. Actually, sometimes he changes it without me knowing. It's kind of a whole thing.
I did want to let you know though. Once you get to the top of the bunker, so about 7:30,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to just start running because Count Trivia will start chasing you.
Yes.
So
Oh.
He is gearing up. He's
Yeah.
been working. It's more of like it's a competition for
Okay,
him.
geez.
Really.
And if I could have one request of you,
Yes.
put some pants on. That would make me much more comfortable.
Oh, sure.
wow. Why didn't we think of that? I should've- Oh, you just had him down there.
I just had my pants. Yeah, just
Mine were made out of meat, and Minnie Driver was in the studio earlier, so she has eaten my pants. Wait, wait a minute. I would like to retract that
implication.
Well, Spencer, real quick, where can people find you? Where like?
Oh,
do
I
you
don't
want
think that
people
even
to-
matters.
He doesn't. want to
But
be
I
found.
am
He's out
Hey
the
There
door.
Spencer on I think all platforms, at least Instagram. Just
mean,
Hey There Spencer,
networking
find
guy.
me. You can follow my musicals that'll be coming out. I imagine these two amazing creators are going to be part of things because I will beg them to be because they're so good. I would never do a work without having their
It's a
hands
fun
on it.
time to do a show with you to experience things that your friends put on and stuff. Like I've always had a good time doing it.
And make sure
Aw.
you check out Possessive, the musical. I know we pitched it before, but like when this is done, go boot it up on any platform you listen to music on.
It's on Spotify. Possessive the musical, the album.
It's good. It's
It's-
fun. You can hear me speaking like a demon.
That's
Who
right. He
cares?
has his demon voice.
It's almost Bilbo
It's very
Bartender.
fun. Yeah, we get to say we were part of like an original musical production.
Oh, I brag about that all the time.
It's kind of wild.
Aw.
We get to say that.
It's
Totally.
nice that
Totally
we
brag
can
about
say that and actually like it.
Yes.
That is the difference.
All right, I have started to have people that actually know the work, not the person, and that's amazing. When I walked into,
Whoa.
I was at a charity show just the other night where there are a bunch of musical theater people, and one walked up to me and said, "Hey, are you Spencer, the possessive Spencer?" Amazing.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Amazing.
That's crazy. I've had that happen like once or twice for this podcast.
Oh,
Someone's
yeah.
like, of like Isaac from That Was Horrible.
Yeah,
and like, I
so
was
cool.
shocked.
I actually crapped my
I
pants.
was floored, really, really.
Wow.
I mean,
it's like you've heard me naked.
Yes,
But
you
I've had
have.
people say that about Possessive to me. They're like, "Hey, you were in Possessive." I was like, "That music? You remember that one? That was like teeny. We had like 2 performances.
It's crazy. But I mean, sometimes people remember that.
That's a lingering effect,
That's fun.
just like
Yeah.
Minnie Driver eating meatloaf."
But folks, we will be back in a couple of weeks with another episode. Next week, we will be
Stage
watching
Fright 2014.
We did that. It's done. We did it. We will be watching a movie chosen by Derek here
The
called
ABCs of Death from
Yes.
2012, 38%. Now, the reason I picked this movie is because the writer, director of Stage Fright
2014
actually wrote a short in this horror anthology sequel.
Yes, the sequel to the ABCs of Death.
We're going to go back and watch the original because I didn't know it existed. It seems kind of bad.
Yeah, no, the synopsis for this one just says an anthology of stories helmed by more than 24 directors details 26 ways to die, each corresponding to a different letter of the alphabet, which will be kind of fun. I'm curious.
I wanna know all the Zs.
We did one
I'm wondering why they
anthology.
said more than 24, but then told us 26 stories. Just say 26 and 26, parallelism.
Easy.
Well, maybe one director did 2.
Just one. Just 25 directors.
But yeah, so I'm eager to see how this one goes because we've done one anthology that had 4 different stories in it. I want to say 3 or 4 different stories. This one has 26. So
It'll be fun.
we'll
rank
see.
them.
We'll see how this one runs.
Like, are they each 3 minutes long?
They must.
'Cause
Be
that's a
short.
very long movie.
It's a 2-hour and 10-minute movie, I think. So we'll see. We'll see how they helm that one there though. Before we send them off, Derek, should we give them their Garfield their
horror
scope here?
Absolutely.
Yes. This week's episode, we've got a Garfield comic by the wonderful Jim Davis. Derek's peering at it right now. We seem to have Garfield talking to John. John's got a lot of groceries and such. He gives him an ice cream as a treat, and isn't that wonderful? Derek has been perusing this. Who do you want to be this week? He's right over me. He's really thinking intently what he wants to be.
I mean, I think I kind of want to be the ice cream.
Okay, I want to be the bag holding the ice cream together.
And I'll be the actual character.
No. Listen, that's the easy way out, right? We got to give them something different here.
As a man currently chained to a chair, I don't think there is any easy way out.
You're right. There's only the hard
Spencer
way.
is not one to not commit to a bit, and I love that about
It's
him.
perfect.
He
It's
is
great.
committed to this bit.
We gotta
which is
commit harder.
definitely a bit. Hey, lawyers, I know you're there.
Law lawyer.
I did not
You
chain him
looking
to
at
a
us.
chair for longer than 20
No
minutes.
one has been
As
chained to a
in
chair.
my contract. 20 minutes was the limit. He was only in there
Promptly,
for 20
19 minutes 59 seconds. We freed the man. So, but you're the ice cream. Tell me about the ice cream.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're just sitting there and they're melting, and John is holding on to them, and it's his dream to live with it, right? And so in life, be that. Be the thing that someone wants to hold on to. Be the thing that is someone's dream. Be there for yourself so you can be there for other people, because this ice cream had to be itself first. And we have to remember that.
Yeah.
And if you're your truest self, which is ice cream in a container in John's arms, then in reality, you can be there for someone else and be someone else's dream.
Damn, that was so good.
Wow.
I'll just close it out with this paper bag is holding that, supporting a support system here.
Yeah, support those around you.
Support those around you. That's a great way, Derek. You nailed it too good. I can't say anything
Amazing.
more on
Out of the
that.
park.
Spencer,
on
do
that.
you want to see anything about saying this about this comic you can't see?
Be that quintessential character in someone's life.
There you go.
Does anyone hear the name Garfield and not think about the president who died prematurely? No, they don't. They think about the orange cat.
Yes.
And you need to be that for someone. Whenever
Be
they
that
say
iconic
Isaac,
character.
I want them to think of you first.
Right.
I mean,
Dear listener, I'm pointing to Isaac when I say that. And whenever they say Derek, I want them to think of you first.
Yes.
And whenever they say Spencer Wilhelmina Ford, I want them to think of me.
They're gonna think of
first.
you, and now they will.
I personally think of the bunker that you're currently chained up in, and we're going to leave you in. So.
No, we won't do that. But Spencer graciously
you're
gave you his socials. We'll give you our socials here on our way out. Please feel free to follow us on anywhere you can find us. We are on Instagram at that_was_horrible, Twitter at TWH Podcast, Facebook at That Was Horrible Podcast, YouTube at That Was Horrible, and we're also on TikTok at That Was Horrible. Basically, look up those 3 words. You'll probably find us wherever you're looking for us.
Yeah. And that, yeah, no,
And
that's
that's that. Any closing remarks, Spencer? Thanks for joining us here. It's been a wonderful
It's
time.
been so amazing. I know exactly how many moles each of you have.
Yep.
I know exactly how many tattoos. Also, I was going to
analyzing
ask
our
if you
faces.
think these matching tattoos that you forced me to get with you,
They will
are
not come off with the dry erase.
tasteful.
Yeah, just don't. I think they're tasteful. I think they're
And if you're made out of meatloaf, tasty to Margot Robbie.
they're actually a
Like in Stage Fright 2014.
All right. Well, everybody have a great
Thank you very
night.
much. Garfield be with you. Stay spooky.
Bye.
Oh, pretty good.
Goodbye.